too long. I've been out here on my own. Now I'm about to bring it home like a rolling stone. I ain't never been afraid to die. Look a man in the eye. I come to give you what you love. It's time to give you what you love. I'ma give you what you love. Give you what you love.
Well, good afternoon and happy Monday. You might not recognize the face because Marva turned it up, honey. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Okay, let me just get the hair out the way, right? I am literally wearing my hair differently today in honor of the Crown Act. You know, so much has gone on in this country where black people, black and brown people, have been told what they can't wear, what they can't do, how they can't look. Our earrings have to be small and palpable to the eyes of the average person. We have to wear a little pearl necklace, otherwise we'd not be taken seriously, as if what is in our brain does not translate because we wear something different. And so today I'm channeling my Joy-Ann Reid, honey. I watched her last week and just fell out with just how compassionate she was and how she strongly spoke about the things that were going on in this country. And then on top of that, you know, at my tender age, I am in my mid-50s now, have never worn a wig before in my life, ever. And one of the people that I mentor dropped by my house last week to drop something off for my birthday, and she had on something similar. And I said, oh, if I ever wore a wig, it would be that. And don't you know, she bought it in the right color, sent it to Marva's house. I went and had it, cut. My friend Arnett styled it for me because it was all over the place. It was huge. And once the curls drop out, it'll look like a real afro, right? So, yeah, I'm really excited. So thank you all. I know you all think I'm a little out there today, but there is so much to talk about. And so let's go, shall we? I don't even know where to start. So let me start with last Thursday. Last Thursday, I got on the air, and I was, for lack of a better expression, incensed. And not only was I incensed, I was worn out. I was mentally worn out because I'd spent so many years trying to have conversations with people, black, brown, white, yellow, about what I saw coming down the pike in this country. My calls have increased for implicit bias work. So let me just tell those of you who want me to do this work, this is not a one and done. I just inked a contract with a great organization that's going to last 2 years. That's what this is. This work moves at the speed of trust. And so if you want to just do implicit bias work that's going to be 1 or 2 sessions, then I would dare say at your helm, you are not ready for this work. And so I'm excited. I slowed down on doing the implicit bias work for a while because I was exhausted, but now I'm re-energized and ready to go. And so God bless the people. If you hear me on the radio, then you look up and see me at your organization doing your work, then you know what you're in for, right? But I take this work very seriously and want to make sure that we move forward on behalf of all the constituency. So last Thursday, when I was on the air, it all came out. Everything that I had been discussing, everything that I had been talking about, the fact that we keep being told over and again that we can't wear our hair, we can't wear the earrings, we can't speak a certain way. We have to be announcing our words a certain way in order for people to listen to us and to believe us. Having all the degrees didn't matter. And I want to thank those of you who reached out to me to talk about it afterwards and prayed. Some of you prayed because you can see that this is not just doing a radio show for me, that it's not just my getting on the air and spewing stuff day after day. I am literally well researched, doing a lot of writing. While I'm off the air, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm taking notes, I'm watching the news, I'm following all the stuff, and it's a lot, right? And so it wears on me sometimes. And so this morning I said to my husband, I apologized. I said to him, my anxiety level is high because not only have we now reached the point where people can no longer deny what's going on in this country, we're now at a place where, you walk into stores and you can feel the, what's the word that I'm looking for? The hostility. The hostility. I went to a local market on Saturday up in Dreshertown, and white folks who would usually, at least say hello, the look, it's almost as if they're saying, the cat is out the bag. I no longer have to be nice and kind or pretend like I like you or pretend like I want to be around you. And at the other side of the coin are the white folks who are just like, they're devastated. How did we miss this? How could we not have seen? Why didn't we listen to all of you when you kept saying this was what was going on? And so you're going to hear me talk a lot about Capitol Police, and because here's the other thing that's getting ready to shift. Police departments, as we know them, are shifting. They're going to shift. They have no choice but shifting, because there in black and white we can see exactly how they responded to certain things. So I have a lot of, excuse me, I talk with such exuberance that my poor voice. I have a lot of articles that I want to share with you. The 1 o'clock hour is open for the WURD listeners. You can most certainly call in to talk to me. But I'm going to even tell those of you who are listening all the time, I thank you for being fervent listeners. I thank you for calling in here. You see what we're trying to do here. We're putting guests on that are going to elevate and uplift what is happening in this country. We have consistently talked about coronavirus, which reminds me, and I have to double check to see, because another person, Lord, and you all are reaching out to me from different places. Let me see if she responded to me so that I can do this. I'm not going to give you her name, but this is something I think you all need to hear. She says, hello. This message is addressed to Andrea Lawful Sanders. My name is XYZ. I am a frequent WURD listener, and I briefly wanted to share my experience with loss it is due and related to the 2020 pandemic and carrying over into this new year, 2021. I lost my father due to the complications unrelated to COVID in October, and about 2 weeks ago, I lost my mother due to COVID. By the time you read this message, the two of them will be buried together, as my father's ashes will join my mother's remains in their final resting place. This is what I want those in your listening audience to feel, that the stories they hear of others dealing with losses in the pandemic are in their own community. My father was the same age, if not older, than many of the WURD radio's regular male callers. He was a hardworking, quiet yet proud black man of 89 years old. My mother was a hardworking, fun-loving, and impeccably organized 86-year-old black woman. Both transplants from the South, adulthood, long Philly residents. They enjoyed their life and routines to the fullest. I love them so much and will deeply miss them. Both of my parents are gone barely 2 months from each other. My mother had more time here, but COVID took all that away. People need to understand that this virus does not play fair. If they see it doles out less severe symptoms for one person and not another, that it is not an agenda or fake news. I hear you emphasize this daily on your show for months on end. What will it take for some people, especially our people who listen to this station or any black-owned resource or for information? You do not want to know what this level of pain feels like, ever. No one deserves this ending to their life, or to live with lifelong complications due to COVID, either without their knowledge or positive test. No matter how one prepares or takes safety measures and precautions, COVID can still get us, and it does not seem to care who it hurts. It cuts down people fast, within weeks, sometimes days. I dare someone say this isn't real, or whatever it is they believe. The general level of compassion for one another's pain is so incredibly low. The few times I have attempted to share a hint of what was going on with me, with friends or acquaintances, I was met with, sorry for your loss. I lost loved ones too. And an assumption it was due to COVID, even without my mention of it, which isn't the entire story. And my losses hit home. Period. I am hurting more. I get after this past year, and particularly this last week, with all the DC shenanigans, that folks are in eternal sarcasm mode and incapable of feeling. They are burned out, to be quite honest. that's about where we are, and it's incredibly sad. And the resources with which is needed to deal with these mounting losses are spreading so thin, they feel entirely unavailable to those like me who may be in a similar circumstance. I still believe we are all we got, but if we don't have that, then what is really left? Thank you for taking the time to hear my story, as it is still actively unfolding and very hard to deal with. Peace and abundance blessings in the new year. I responded to her, because it broke my heart. Like I read her story twice. Actually, I read it 3 times, and took my time in responding to her. And so, for those of you who are consistently saying that this is a hoax, this morning, on Saturday, we set a single daily record of 278,000 people who contracted the COVID-19 virus in one day, and we have almost 375,000 deaths in this country. Dr. Ayla Stanford was on last Tuesday. I'm waiting to hear back from her. She took the vaccine again on Wednesday and was so sick from it, right? And she posted on Facebook very openly. I love that about her, that she speaks openly about how she has responded to the Pfizer vaccine. And so maybe at some point this week we'll hear from her. I left her alone. I checked in with her last week and heard back from her husband that she really wasn't doing well the day after the vaccine was given. I believe she's much better now. But, there's so much that we have to deal with. And so I can't even emphasize enough to all of you. We all want to travel, and still people, I'm going to such and such next week. I've been to Cabo in Mexico 4 times since this virus began, and it's part of the reason why we're not able to squelch this thing. California is in such dire shape right now. It makes no sense, right? And what is it going to take? This lady is right. Do you have to be impacted by it? I've talked to friends whose loved ones got COVID, recovered, and then are now dying because it tore up their liver, tore up their kidneys, tore up their heart, tore up their lungs. The long haulers. We keep having that conversation over and again. And still, I have people saying to me, X, Y, Z. And I've always said this to you. If you choose not to take the vaccine, that's fine. I have my misgivings about the vaccine too, but at this point, we have to, as we watch and see what people are dealing with and how they're handling what their after effects are from taking the vaccine, I find that if it's something worth doing, and especially people of color, because lots of people in the trial period were not African American for obvious reasons, because we don't trust the system, because X, Y, and Z. You see what this country has done, and we've learned so much in this last week, just how much the country does not think about us. And how they pay deference to other people. And so for those who are constantly, well, why is it always black and white? Why are we always talking about race? Because race is at the very heart of what happens in this country. There is a sickness here that is pervasive. And when I am out, the few times that I go out maybe once every 10 days, once a week now, to try and stay inside as much as possible. The few times that I'm out, I pay particular attention to black and brown people, specifically men. And I see young men, 20, 30, 40s, in their 50s, hunched over, sick, being put in unimaginable scenarios, situations where they have to work to do things that other people would not do. And it has left them with debilitating illnesses and cancer and those kinds of things. And, even when we have the kinds of money where we say, okay, we're going to college, we're making the coins, let's just go ahead and live a different and better life, we get slammed anyway, because in business and industry, it's another thought altogether, right? We can buy the big house and drive the expensive cars, and all they still see are the color of our skin. No more is that evident than in the medical industry, where we continue to have the dialogue around so many people, black and brown people, no matter what you're worth, no matter how beloved you are, even if you are someone who is well known, like Serena Williams, who almost died when she gave birth to her child because the doctor did not listen to her. Those are the kinds of things that we're talking about, right? America is not fair and it's not equal. So let me move on from COVID, but I want you, when people talk about the fact that they have been impacted by this virus, please don't just say something trite like, I'm sorry for your loss. Send warm hugs and love. Even if you can't say anything, send up a quick prayer. Because while both my parents are still here, every day I get up and I'm like, oh my God, we know our parents can't leave here alive, right? But nobody wants to see their parent die from something like COVID or just to die. It's hard. It's hard. I have not seen both my parents since November of 2019. It probably will be November of 2022 before I may be able to lay eyes on them again, unless they get the vaccine. And where they live right now, that's iffy. There are lines and lines, days and days worth of people lining up to get this vaccine. So, and with our mother, we're a little bit concerned because she has some underlying conditions. Our father's a little bit better. That man is not aging at all. My father looks like my brother. But part of it is, he talks about, staying out of the pharmaceutical business and really using the herbs and the things that are growing on the leaves to fix and cure what ails us. And he's taught my sisters and I exactly what to do. And so it's been an interesting time. So now, talk to me about what you all have done since this virus has begun and where you are in all of this, because I'm telling you, it has been an incredible time for all of us. Let's see. Let's pop on over to the insurgents, shall we? The attempted coup at the federal level. Let me just pull this up so I can show this to you. Excuse me. Let me pull this up. Let me see. This was sent by Dondria, who is in the military. They live in Germany right now, her and her husband, and have been in the military for a long time. And she's so concerned. One of the things she wrote on my Facebook page was this. I read an article today that the protesters had a permit registered to the National Park Service, that they increased the permit number sixfold from 5,000 to a max of 30,000 in the days leading up to the date. This tells us they knew the huge group was coming, and they intentionally did not prepare. Our government allowed people to attack itself intentionally. I feel like I'm thinking and talking in circles. It's been difficult for many people to even wrap their minds around this, right? And so she sent an article from the Star Tribune that says, the growing crowds outside, this was written by Karun Demirjan and Carol D. Leoning and Aaron C. Davis, because, from the Washington Post. And I got to tell you that when people take the time to write these pieces, I know when I am writing, there's so much work that is put into it that you want to give people credit for their work and not just read their articles. The growing crowds outside the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon sounded menacing but at bay as senators began to debate challenges on the Electoral College vote. A top advisor to Majority Leader Mitch McConnell stepped out of the ornate chamber for a short break. Alone in the Capitol's marble halls, just outside the chamber's bronze doors, it was suddenly apparent that the citadel of the U.S. democracy was falling to the mob incited by President Donald Trump. A bunch of screaming, shouting, and banging echoed from the floor below. McConnell's security detail rushed past and into the chamber. The advisor began walking towards the rotunda and came face to face with a United States Capitol Police officer sprinting in the opposite direction. The two made eye contact, and the officer forced out one single word: run. Just run. And so let me see what Michael is saying to me. Give me 1 second. Let me take a quick break, and I'll take Michael from Northeast. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Clark Roofing Company has over 30 years of quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour work day, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us and you're looking on Facebook or YouTube and you're like, who is that masked woman? It's me. It's I, Marva. I am I am going with the Crown Act today and wearing my hair a little differently and acknowledging the fact, excuse me, that I I can wear my hair any way I want to. Doesn't change anything that's inside my head. Doesn't make me any less smart. So Michael from Northeast, are you there? Is Michael there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Hi, you're probably not going to like what I'm saying, but give me a minute.
Okay.
And I will tell you. Something has amazed me about this whole thing. You know, Donald Trump was taken off of Twitter and all this, and I agree with that. I understand he incited violence and whatever. Not one person, with all our talk, Reverend Al, talking about police violence, why didn't they use a taser? Why didn't they use mace? I've seen the video of that woman shot and killed. She was sitting on a partition between the hallways, and by the way, a black officer reached his gun out, pointed it at her face for about 4 seconds, held it there, and then blew her away. I have not heard one person, not one, let alone tens of thousands, who burned half the country and caused billions of dollars of damage. I have not heard one person yell, "What's her name?"
So we learned her name. In fact, I talked about her on my social media spaces.
Right.
Hold on. Wait a minute, Michael. So here's what makes this conversation interesting to me. You went right past the fact that they broke into the Capitol, a place where most people would not be able to get without getting their heads shot off, right? They wouldn't even be able to get on the ground. Wait a minute, Michael. Wait a minute, Michael. Wait a minute. Because you're talking about a woman that was shot. She was breaking into the chambers. You then made it a black and white issue by saying it was a black police officer. Did you miss all of this, Michael, that a bunch of white folks ran up into the Capitol, that they got carte blanche to go up in there, that the police officers moved the barricade, that we have video for all of that they were not supposed to be there, that they were trying to change the election, that it is considered treason? Did you miss that part, Michael?
Okay, and here's how I'm going to answer that. Well, first of all, you have to ask yourself a question. He shot one girl. Why didn't he shoot all of them? Why didn't he shoot all?
So are you telling me the one person?
Armed?
Okay, all right, Michael. So here's my deal. You're telling me that he was supposed to shoot. He was going to shoot all of those people?
No.
Why answer this for me? Why didn't the Capitol Police figure
instead of others? Why?
So you
have to have a reason when you're a police officer. You admit that. When a guy comes at you with a knife and you shoot him, the reason for shooting him is he had a knife. If his reason for shooting her was she had entered the chambers, then I have to ask him, why did you shoot her and no one else?
Okay, so then, Michael, answer this for me. Why are so many black and brown people shot and killed for having toy guns or water guns or being shot in the back when they're running away?
Exactly.
Did you ask those same questions?
What does Al Sharpton do? He says, go out and riot. Well, he doesn't say riot, but let's put it this way. The same way that there was $38,000 caused damage to the Congress, and I have people who work there, and they said there was $38,000. It's a lot of damage. $38,000. And like 100 people entered the chambers. Most taking selfies. But let it be that. Most entered, they came in, they're taking their selfies, they're doing this, $38,000. And I believe, as an American, that every one of those people should be tracked down, they should be imprisoned, and they should have to pay for the damage. Just as I feel that the tens of thousands who rioted and caused $50 billion damage should track down and made you pay, even if it takes the rest of their life. So I'm consistent. But what I'm saying to you is I hear the great hypocrisy of people like Reverend Al. They will not say one word about that woman being shot off that stand, and they won't even talk about it. It's acceptable because she backed Trump. I'm not a Trump fan.
So let me see if I get this straight. You're thinking that she only got shot because she was there for Trump. Let me share this with you. She got shot because she was in a secure area. That is the bane and the seed of our democracy. Had she or all the others gotten in to do what they said, and they didn't just take selfies. Let's be clear. They didn't just go in there to take selfies, right?
No,
that is the seed of listen, Michael, that is the seed of our democracy. That is very different from going into a store and let me agree with you. Looting is wrong, period.
Yes.
I am not telling you that is the right thing to do. But what I am saying to you is that looting is different from walking into the seat of the democracy and putting our government at risk. Mike Pence had to be ushered out of there. All those folks had to be ushered out of there. And as the stories begin to unfold, Michael, you start to see that this is something that has been planned for a long time, all the way up to the levels of the police department. I've never seen anything like it. So I don't disagree with you. And let's talk about her. What do you want to talk about her, Michael? How do you want to
talk
address
about this? Could they have used a taser? Could they have used mace? Did they have to?
So, Michael, she was breaking into the chamber.
She had already broken into the chamber. She was in the hallway, and she was sitting on a partition. And if you look at the video, she's sitting there jawing with the police officer, and he pointed his gun at her face for, I counted actually 4 seconds. He pointed at her face. She was jawing at him, and then he blew her off the partition. So my question to you is, if she deserved to die for entering the chambers, now you're saying anyone who enters the chambers illegally, which, by the way, happens every day if you're ever in Washington, if anyone who enters there illegally will now be shot. And let me tell you, why did he not shoot, and why didn't the other police officers shoot the other? And I had friends that were in the chambers. They said they rushed in. There was about 10 guys fighting, seriously, fist fighting. The rest of them were taking selfies, and they were out in 20 minutes. Now, I'm going to ask you, should all 100 people have been shot dead? That's all I'm asking you.
So what do you think, Michael? Do you think they should all have been shot dead, Michael?
Of course not, because I'm a rational person. But the point is if it was, you know this, if Black Lives Matter went in there and busted in to make their point.
Okay, stop right there, Michael. Stop right there, Michael. Stop right there, Michael. Stop. Black Lives Matter would not have made it into the chambers. Do you see when they were just marching on the street that the National Guard was out there? Marching on the street, Michael. They wouldn't have busted into the chamber. I want to thank you for calling in, though. I have given you enough time. I appreciate you. Goodbye. Jake from North Philly, are you there?
Yes, I am. It really disturbs me that they always try to associate what black people are being subjected to in this country to what white people get away with in this country. First of all, if he really looked at that video, he would have seen she was climbing in the window.
Wait, but not only that, he said his friends were in the chambers. He had friends who were in the chambers. So why are you calling me when you know that these folks were not supposed to be in the seat of democracy? Why are you calling me? Just say, America, I want my America the way I want it to be, and this was not fair, and that a black officer shot this white woman, and he never once talked about the fact that she's been radicalized, never talked about the fact that she had a history of this going forward, never talked about any of those things. And it's funny to me that we always look at how, and I talked about this on last Thursday, when we talk about white victims, we paint them in a place of they're so angelic and, they were not doing anything wrong and she was just sitting there and he looked at her for 4 seconds and why didn't he blow everybody else away? And it was a black officer and Black Lives Matter won't go in there. Nobody from Black Lives Matter would have been able to enter the grounds, much less the chambers, right? What he failed to talk about was the fact that these people were helped. We saw video. It was a coup.
It wasn't cool.
Yes,
First of all, it was a coup to try to take over and deny Joe Biden and the people who spoke in this country for the election. That was a coup. They always downplay it. It was insurgent. But insurgent is not like a coup. A coup is when you're trying to take over the government.
Yep.
So now here we go. Why the National Guard wasn't there, the Army and nobody else, because Donald Trump fired everybody and put people there that was loyal to him. So of course they wasn't going to be there. And I'm going to tell you something else. Listen to what I'm telling you. Those people that's in charge of the Army and the Marines are all people that are loyal and dedicated to Donald Trump. He fired all of them and put people there that's dedicated to him. They can play games with that boy, that man, if they want. He got another plan for them. Trust me, it's not over. That's just
Jake, it has just begun, right? And you see how they sit around and listen to Black Talk Media? My husband listens to them all the time, right? Fox, WHAT. He makes sure he's listening. We need to. We shouldn't. This is why I tell you all the time. Don't stay in our silos and only listen to what, we are doing. Go listen to what they're talking about. Because quite frankly, they're listening to us, right? We have been having this dialogue for a long, long time. And it makes no sense. And it's funny how they pick and choose what they want to talk about, but that's always been their way. And when they pick and choose what they want to talk about, you have to come back at them hard and fast with the facts. And the facts are coming out in ways that is frightening, right? We've only just begun. Do you hear what I'm telling you? We have only just begun.
It's right. You're right. The handwriting's on the wall. And it's just a matter of time. They're acting up a little here and there, just a little now. But once they regroup, it's going to be hell in this country.
Oh,
and the police, most of them are down with them. There was probably more police and firemen and politicians in that crowd than we know right now.
Listen to me. I saw a few people that I know, because I tell y'all, mother know everybody in Jesus, right? I saw a few of them that I know in that crowd that I'm in, and I haven't said anything to them. I'm just waiting to see how it all shake out, right? But
I'll be calling the FBI. That's what I'll be doing. But I hear what you're saying. That's what I'll be doing.
But Jake, pay attention.
I'll be
right now, listen, Jake. Right now, there's a police detective under investigation for attending that coup. You think that police detective is the only one? That's not the only one. Right?
They're trying to say she didn't go into the Capitol building. She was there. And, they always try to downplay everything. These people do. They always use certain words. They act out the importance and the seriousness of what they did. They act. They try to always use words to downplay it, Oh, well, I don't agree. Well, I think Trump needs to resign. I don't think and what is important. I don't think right now. I think we should write Joe Biden a letter and ask him, why would you want Joe Biden to do anything for you when you're not going to do nothing for him?
Yeah, and it's so interesting. This has been just so you all are aware, because the day that Barack Obama was inaugurated, they went into full mode. And the thing about these folks is that they're willing to be patient and to wait their turn, right? So by the time someone like Donald Trump decided to run for the election, he was not more of the same. There are key people behind all of this. He was not more of the same. And they lost control when Donald Trump got elected and continued to lose control because he was saying the things that the people who have been radicalized have been saying for a long time. And so here we go, Jake. The chickens have come home to roost. Right? Yep. And we have to pay attention now to what's happening around us. And we can no longer, this medium, when anybody who is in media right now has to do their homework, pay attention. It is no longer okay. It's never been okay in my book to get on the air and pontificate and talk a bunch of yin-yang and self-promote and not do the work of looking out for the people. I was consistent for a whole year saying we are in civil war. For a whole year that I've been on the air.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. I agree with you 100%. That's why we need to be getting ready for the storm, because the calm already came.
Yes, Jake, I told folks, I said, I keep telling folks, get your water, get your food, get your stuff. Because we are still sitting around in America like, well, I'm going to get me some chicken wings. I'm going to get me some seafood. I'm going to run to the market. I done told y'all, pack up your homes and get ready to stay inside of it, because what these angry people are doing, I think it was in New York or California, a woman was plucked off. They killed her, a black woman. because she was close to their demonstrations. She wasn't doing anything with them, was minding her business, and they shot and killed her. When people are angry and feel like they can't be heard, then they start doing what they do. While it is not 1865 and it is 2021, black and brown people in America need to take heed. Store up your stuff, get your things together. I've been talking about this for so long. You know, I have friends who work in IT. Yep, I have friends who work in IT and the grid, the electrical grid, and what's going on with our water supply. Start stocking up your water. You know, all these things I've been saying for forever and a day, Jake. Forever and a day.
And nobody's paying attention to these things. These people are in control for the lights, the gas, everything, the water. And these people are done. And they in control of everything that we need to survive.
Yep. Instead of buying the $14,000 pocketbook, get a generator for your house so that you'll be able to help somebody if things go down. Get the candles, get the charcoal for your,
if you can't afford one, get together with somebody else and chip in together. And look out for each other.
There you go. Because I swear to you, black and brown people still are not taking this seriously enough. It's like, oh my God, look what's going on, and we're just watching on our TV to see how it all unfolds. These folks are telling you what is coming, and we need to get ourselves together. And getting yourselves together, you do what you want to do, but at least make sure you have enough canned goods in your home. Make sure you have candles. Make sure you have flashlights. We don't know what's coming down the pike, and it's not just going to go away.
Whatever medicine you need, make sure you have a stockpile of it. Whatever you need to survive, make sure you have. Get you a freezer to put extra meat in. Make sure that you have what you need so that you can survive. Get you some weapons to protect your food and your family.
You know, it is so interesting, and you know, we may not always have electricity to cook things, and so what are you doing? How are we doing this? What are you taking your stimulus monies to do? Think about it, people. Think. Think.
Prepare. Preparation. Prepare. Even if it doesn't happen, that's okay. At least you prepared for it. If it didn't happen, that's cool. But if it do, you're prepared for it.
Yep. Absolutely. And for those of you who can't cook and have to always run down the street, for those of you who can't, hold on one second, Jake. For those of you who can't cook anything and always running down the street to go buy something to eat, learn how to make basic foods. Learn how to open up a can of corned beef or a can of tuna fish or a can of something and figure out how to make things that you can eat if you don't have this kind of stuff. It may not happen, but dear God Almighty, if it does, and I suspect that it's coming, because I've been telling you all this for years, be prepared, people. Don't get caught out there, right? Don't just get caught out there. Thank you, Jake. Thank you so much, my brother. Have a good day, okay?
Yeah, you too.
All right, my brother. Bye-bye. Prince.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Sean. Trying to help my people. Trying to help my people, Prince.
Yeah, tell them to get some dry ice.
Dry ice.
So you can put that dry ice in the freezer box to keep that food warm. Cause you buy a whole lot of meat goes spoiled if you ain't got nothing to keep it cool. So, I think the guy from the Northeast, he just had to be black, and so if at no point in time you were put in that situation, you really can't feel what's felt. He's talking about one person getting shot in comparison to all of the people that had gotten hurt and arrested that was nowhere near the Capitol when Black Lives Matter was inside of D.C. So I think there's a difference. And I wanted to ask you a question. Do you remember when Obama was in office, you had almost 3 movies that came out showing the White House being blown up? Like, it was, London has fallen and White House down, Eagle has landed. Jamie Foxx played in one of them. Morgan Freeman played in another one. Angela Bassett played in there. And so in order for you to write these scripts, somebody somewhere had to have an idea that this could actually happen, And like I tried to tell some people, we can't defend what happened at the Capitol, but jail is jail. So no matter how affluent you are, no matter how many resources you have, you can ask Weinstein and Cosby and all them other ones. Once you're in jail, it's a hard place to get out of, no matter how much money you have or position or status you have. So I think we need to keep assisting them with recognizing and identifying those people who try to take our liberty and our freedom away.
Hold on 1 second, Prince. Let me take a quick break. Don't hang up, okay? Can you hold on?
Yes, I can.
You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Happy New Year, Philly. It's Solomon Jones. The pandemic of 2020 blew the roof off of life as we know it and forced us to make radical decisions once thought impossible. Many parents and grandparents turned to the option of a public cyber education. In thousands of instances, they sought assistance from the one true pioneer and industry leader in public cyber education, Commonwealth Charter Academy. Visit ccaeducate.me and exercise your right to choose a safe, hassle-free, student-focused learning environment your kids deserve. CCA delivers elite online instruction streamed directly to the safety and comfort of your living room. They provide a laptop and headset along with internet connectivity that includes financial assistance, all at no cost to families. CCA has been the gold standard in school choice for nearly 20 years. Visit ccaeducate.me and ring in 2021 with a 5-star learning experience. Again, that's ccaeducate.me.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. The text messages, the inbox, it's all flying hard and fast for me. I'll get to you all as quickly as I can. Miss Allen says, Black people need to go back to the drawing board the old-fashioned way. Sometimes the word, let's see. She said, if you cut off the electric and the gas, you better have a kerosene heater, charcoal grills, and learn how to survive like our ancestors did. We were broke, but we were not poor. So here we go. It's a lot. And they're loving my new hair, honey. Thank you, darling. Prince, are you still there?
I am. You know, the issue that I want to have is that $100 million did not go to help us who own property, who rent property out to people. It went to the prison system. And I heard, you know, on one of the shows this weekend, one of the hosts, I had a chance to call in and ask that host. I said, you know, just for clarity, so we won't think that you guys were negligent, or so we can get some understanding on what happened to the $100 million that was moved over somewhere else and didn't go to the people who own property who have renters in it. And she said that by the time the Republicans made up their mind, they only had 2 weeks to get into population, and it was complicated, and it was convoluted, and it was inundated with strenuous paperwork. And it might have been okay if this particular state rep wasn't an attorney. When you are an attorney, you are ethically bound in order to service your client. You are ethically and morally bound to do your due diligence so you have the best representation for your client. And so I never understood, as a state rep, why wouldn't you still hold yourself to those standards? And she started saying that when I got the state rep, there was only 9 women. Now there's 10 women, and one of them is chairing an office and stuff like that. I'm saying, wait a minute. That has not, you are not explaining $100 million. And if we were to look at it, you got Morgan Cephas, Joanne McClendon, Garisha Parker, and you got Donna Bullock. You still have 6 other black women that services the state of Pennsylvania. So that and a lot of reps who service outside of Philadelphia don't like Philadelphia. So you including 10 of you guys in a system that has 253 state reps. So 10 votes is not going to help us at all. What I'm asking you is to give me a better answer since you are the only attorney out of the 4 women, and you're telling me that, well, it was too hard, it was too complicated, it was inundated with misunderstanding. That does not help the middle-class people who grandma left them properties, and they're renting properties out to tenants who have been in there 10 months and not paid any rent under the COVID when there was $100 million to make them whole. And this is some of the problem that we have. We're fighting the long-distance problem, but the immediate local problems are stifling us. They're taking our breath away. These folks have gotten paid to do their jobs and to do due diligence. And, Andrea, they have not given us the support that we're asking, and they've still walked away with a paycheck. This woman, Donna Bullock, who is hoping to take Darrell Clark's position when he no longer runs, and you keep passing the ball to these politicians who are just setting themselves up regardless of what happens to us, Andrea. So they're making us the duck inside of the water.
I let me say this. I am. We need to serve notice to these local politicians because black folks are completely awake now. And we can see what our votes will wrought. And we can see that not everybody who looks like us is doing what they're supposed to do on our behalf. We also can see that we still continue to be one of the largest port cities in the country, that nothing is shifting and changing. And so I'm going to tell you, my brother, that this is not just going to, it may take a little bit of while, because one of the things that we think that if things should just happen immediately, right? It may take a little while to shift and turn over those seats like Jesus turned over the table in the temple. But some of them seats are getting turned over, right? Because we have to get to a place where we start to either serve the people or go to hell home. Go home. It's no longer cute. It's no longer cute for us to be, for you to so let me say this, Prince, and I have another thing that I say over and again. When someone comes to the table and they say, it's my turn because I've helped such and such and such, that's not a good reason to run for office. When somebody comes to the table and says, I have XYZ degrees and I know politics and da-da-da-da-da, and that's not enough to bring them to the table. I have gone through intensive 10-month leadership training for people who want to run for political office. I could teach that training now. And one of the core things that they look for is, what are your core values? What are your core values? Are you someone that's easily angered? Are you someone that's petty when you don't like what someone says to you? Are you someone that's subversive and work behind the scenes? Are you someone that's determined, graceful, learn how to work across the aisle with other people? All those things make a difference when you're running for office. And I would dare say we continue to put the same dead, dry bones in because it's their turn. Enough. Right? Start looking at the core values people are bringing to the table and how they're going to serve their constituency beyond winning an election. That's what I'm talking about. So I would tell the people that are around, the black and brown people, whether you're listening to me here in Philadelphia or you're listening to me around the country, when people start to decide that they want to run for office, dig into their backgrounds, not to see if they didn't pay their rent or they didn't. Don't even do that. And that's a part of it too. But dig to see how they've managed with other people. What have they done in meetings? What history do they have in a meeting with other people? How have they resolved issues? All those things tell you what their core values are. Do they hide behind people and do awful subversive things? And that takes the smallest amount of digging. That's what we need to do. And start voting these people out. Start voting them out. I'm not naming their names because, Lord, I would be here till Jesus come back. But when you have a government seat of officials in a city where at least half of them are under federal investigation, that tells you a problem. That we have a problem.
And
tells you that we have a problem.
I'm going to end with this right here. It would be helpful if one of them, on a regular basis, just called the show and gave us a better update. We're in the 11th day of January, and we are already at 13 murders. Now, come on. You knew what we had gone through in 2020. You had all your pandemic excuses. There's some politicians out here have to give us some clarity on a plan on how to stop a mother or father's grief based on her son or daughter being killed. And I don't know what predicament that happened, but I'm saying is that you are not offering us enough solace in order to move forward. You were actually making it seem okay to take a life inside of this city. And so,
or Prince, if it's something that's gaining national attention, they all show up for media attention. You know,
like show up. Right, that's not
show
good.
Show up when the media isn't there. Show up. Be consistent. Consistently show up when the media is not there. So you're not standing behind a podium, but you're quietly going to their homes to visit them to say hello. And don't go on Facebook and post about it. Because see, if you do something with authenticity and with good intention, the people that you went to visit will talk about it on your behalf. You don't have to do it yourself.
Right, somebody else will talk about it. You don't have to talk about it. And go to the hospital. Like you are really putting them in a disadvantage. First, we can't get in the hospital. Second, we can't get out the hospital. So they don't let you sign yourself out anymore, and they don't let anybody come in to see you anymore. And there's no politician that you can call up and say, hey, you know, I need to see my son. He just got shot. Or, hey, thank you for coming to support me. I'm just saying if they need to take it back to the old school, you had compassion when you cared about people, then I'm all for that. But right now, the lack of compassion, the lack of empathy, the lack of understanding to just say, I mean, if they no longer live on the block, put it that way. So now they don't have to live with us no more. They can live with them. So they don't live on the block no more, so they don't have to come visit us no more. So when something happens to us,
except them already pegged them and know exactly where they fit and use them to their own benefit and then discard of them. You ever notice when the federal government comes, they come for us first? You ever notice?
I was appalled when I seen what you had seen of the gates being open. One politician left out the door and left the door open. And thank God for the internet, because you get to see this stuff clearly. The thing about it is, what do we do about it at this stage? And who helps us mobilize to do something effective with the information that we have? Because if it's our politicians, then I don't think we're going to have a great I don't think we're going to get the results we're looking for, and I'm going to hang up and listen to others, and thank you for taking my call.
Oh, you're quite welcome, my brother. Take it easy. For those of you who are seriously considering running for office, reach out to Jasmine Sessoms of She Can Win. You have to go through or another organization, but vet that organization to make sure that they're telling you the right things and giving you all the knowledge that you need. And if you decide that you want to run for office, do it 2 years out. Don't wait until 9 months down the road and somebody tells you you'd be perfect for it and you let your ego blow up because they're telling you how wonderful you are, and then you're not prepared, right? Start planning now. So you may not get the desired effect that you want in the next election, but the election after that. And then we will continue to hold the folks while they're still in office accountable. I need us to start thinking with our heads, people, and not so much with our hearts all the time with nothing to show for it. It's time to stop all the belly aching and start doing some things to shift and change what's going on in this city, state, and country. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
onWURD 2020 in Black. Check out the latest edition of the onWURD podcast, where WURD President and CEO Sarah Lomax Reese takes a look back at the racial justice uprisings around the nation in 2020. onWURD 2020 in Black. Download today wherever you listen to podcasts or visit WURDradio.com. onWURD 2020 in Black was produced with support from Resolve Philly, which provides ground for journalistic initiatives that challenges our industry to be more equitable, collaborative, and based in community voices and solutions.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, this full hour we have been talking with WURD listeners about what happened in the country last week. I read a piece about a young lady who lost both her mother and her father, one to COVID, the other one not to, and how devastating it has been for her, and we've just not done much of anything. We've spent so much time, and I get it, we're traumatized, right? It's hard living in this country and not being traumatized by the messaging and the way we've been treated for so long. But what you see, we've still risen, right? We're doing well in many instances. And for those of us who are doing well, we must now turn around and be responsible for the ones that have struggled, that have been sat on for so long they can't even lift their head, much less get on their knees, much less stand up and walk. And so you want to, when people start giving you the counter narrative about, they were just doing their right as American citizens, you want to then go be well read, be well researched, and you want to push up for them, that the National Guard was out there in large numbers for the Black Lives Matter movement. and that, people are now pointing fingers about who did what, not my fault. It's so ridiculous to see right now that everybody's being found out. Let me pull this up. Here's another one. Clarence Thomas's wife cheered on the anti-democracy rally before rioters stormed the Capitol. So she's another one I believe they're looking at. They're talking about a Supreme Court justice wife that they're paying attention to. I believe it is her or Scalia, but they're not quite sure. We haven't seen who it is yet. But she was the one that was very outspoken, right? Hours before a violent mob of far-right extremists, and let me see who wrote this. Lord, I don't know who wrote this. I don't see a name. There's so many ads and stuff popping up into these things. It's so hard to get it to the meat of the thing. Hours before a violent mob of far-right extremists attacked the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th, President Donald Trump and his supporters spoke at an event in Washington, D.C., where they demanded that Congress overturn the Electoral College results for the 2020 presidential election. And one of those supporters was conspiracy theorist Ginny Thomas, wife of United States Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Ginny Thomas tweeted her support of that event on January 6th, saying, "Love make America great again, people, and God bless each of you for standing up or praying." Slate's Mark Joseph Stern notes that after the attack on the Capitol building, she added an addendum and posted, note written before the violence in the U.S. Capitol. So now everybody is backpedaling. People who were caught in the chambers with zip ties, oh, I just picked it up off the floor. Oh, I went there, but I was just sitting on the ground watching it all unfold. Oh, I sat at Nancy Pelosi's desk, but I didn't steal anything. So many of these folks are veterans of the Air Force and the Army. The head of the Capitol Police, who has since resigned, said that he got no support. They're saying that he did get support, that the Federal Bureau of Investigations reached out to him, and New York City Police Department reached out to him and said there's something huge coming. And so who's telling the truth? Who's telling the truth here, right? But what we do know is business as usual cannot continue to happen. So here we go. Michael is, Lord, there's so much going on. Y'all stop texting me until after I'm off the show, please. Not texting, inboxing me. Don't inbox me. You can text me if you have my phone number. But is Randall Martin on yet? Randy on yet? Let me just double check if I can read a couple of news reports. So much going on. BillyPenn.com says, pre-register for the vaccine with Philly opening in a clinic in Center City. When you sign up, you'll get an alert as soon as your phase is eligible for inoculation. Thank you, D. Hall F of the Pennsylvania Convention Center is making a name for itself at the most important room in Philadelphia. So it has decided to it's now holding Philly's first mass community COVID-19 vaccination clinic, divided into zones that optimize the 125,000 square feet. The facility is being run by folks behind Philly Fighting COVID in partnership with the Philadelphia Department of Public Health. The nonprofit has also launched the city's first sign-up site where Philadelphians who want to get vaccinated can enter their info in advance. And so there you go. Let me see if they tell us exactly here. Philly Fighting COVID estimates that the Center City pop-up will be able to inoculate between 100 and 450 people each hour for a total of 1,000 to 4.5 thousand people daily. So if you want to sign up online, I still don't see it. Just, they just put the link sign up here. So let's see. Go to PFC Philly and see if you can get what you need to do. So it's called Philly Fighting COVID. Google that and see where you can sign up to pre-register to take the vaccine if that's what you want to do. Oh, Lord, I'm going to need another cup of tea when this is over. I have now on the line poor Randy, because I don't even know if we're going to talk about anything other than what's happening in the country. Randy Martin is the owner and chief event planner at Trilogy Event Design. She has been creating gorgeous, swanky, and indulgent events celebrating all types of occasions since 2006. Randy, are you there?
I am here. Hi.
Child, don't even ask. Mama is just... So what do you want to talk about today other than the attempted coup in this country?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that. That's a trigger. I'm not going to talk about it. But first, let me say welcome to the Curly Girl Club.
Girl, I am loving it.
You are so cute. You're so cute.
My husband almost fell out of his chair when he saw me.
I don't even
what happened to your hair?
I don't even want to know.
What's going on, darling?
I am having a wonderful Monday. Usually rainy days and Mondays always get me down, but I'm having a wonderful Monday. So I'm going to not talk about those things that make it not so wonderful. So
let's go.
So let's talk about some good things. This Friday, Philadelphia is going to eliminate some of the restrictions that were placed prior to the holidays. So there will be more opportunities for people to be able to get out and support local restaurants, order takeout, support your restaurants, tip well to the delivery people. I'm going to say that. We got to support our people. They are our community, too. Fundamentally, for weddings, they are going to remain intimate for a little while longer. You can have a wedding. You can plan a wedding. Talk about that. We know that there have been restrictions about how many people can attend a wedding. And we know that it's cold outside, so we're not going to have any outdoor weddings right now. So we're looking at intimate weddings happening from now until probably sometime in the late fall. Because if you think about it, the COVID vaccine is not going to be readily available in enough time for everybody to safely be able to gather in the large numbers that we used to pre-COVID. So by May, the vaccine will be accessible to everyone in the public, hopefully.
Okay.
Plus, you add on another month for your second shot, plus several months for enough immunity to develop before we can get back into those social settings where we can have the warm and fuzzy hugging everybody that comes to your wedding type of event.
I ain't hugging nobody. Love y'all, not hugging nobody anymore. I'm done hugging y'all.
Never again.
I'm going to have to spray the cooties off first.
I'll take a Lysol bath just to get a hug from mother. If you've never been hugged by the mother diva, you don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so
honey,
you
they
know
don't know.
You're missing. But for us who know what we're missing, I will take a bath in Lysol. Okay. I will make sure that I am pure.
Yes, ma'am.
I will purify my body in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. All right, so that's enough of the Prince reference. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. So it is going to be several months into probably late fall before we can get back to having weddings and celebrations that are going to be of the numbers that we're used to. So having intimate weddings are not terrible. They're actually a good thing because you'll actually get to talk to the people who are attending your wedding. You'll get to have fun with them, even if you can't hug them, and still have a good time with them. You can also, using the same budget that you would have for a larger wedding, you can have a nicer event. You can have better food. You can have bigger flowers. You can have nicer entertainment. So it's not totally a loss, and it's not a bad thing.
I could have told them before COVID hit, Randy. Mister and I did just that. 50 people at our wedding. Everybody had a blast. The flowers were amazing. The food was out of this work, and I didn't taste any of it. But I am told that it was all so delicious, right? But you're right. A smaller event, you can do so much more with that smaller event.
And it becomes more of an experience for your guests. It's not the same thing that they always see, right? So you can do more bang for your buck, a bigger wow factor, all of that. A couple things that I am going to say is that if you have been recently engaged, enjoy this period to celebrate being engaged. So a lot of people get engaged, they get the ring on their finger, and the bride-to-be is immediately like, let's start planning this wedding, like 2 hours later. The engagement is actually a moment, right? So you're going to have the rest of your lives to be married. You only have the short period to be engaged. So in the engagement period, enjoy being the fiance. Enjoy saying that name, right? Like, this is my fiance. I am his fiance. Or, you know, get a T-shirt made, whatever. So you can use this time where you can't really get out and do a lot of things outside, planning your wedding virtually. You can have phone and video chats with the venues and the vendors. A lot of the venues have video tours, so you can see the venue in a video if you can't actually go there in person. You can also start to develop a wedding website. So you're taking the time together to put together this website that tells your love story and shares your pictures and things like that you can share with your friends and family to help them to enjoy this engagement period too, because you probably can't have an engagement party, but you can do the website and share that. Maybe you do a drive-by to your friends and family. So instead of them doing a drive-by to you, you do a drive-by to them. So, you know, you drive by, flash your ring, let them hoot and holler for you, things like that.
Okay.
And then you can also do something like, you know, a Zoom party.
Okay.
You can do a Zoom party and have everybody order your favorite takeout food. So you're all eating the same type of food while you're having this Zoom party and celebrating together.
Well, these are great ideas. These are great ideas, Randy. You know, it never occurred to me with all the stuff that's going on that people are still getting married or still getting engaged. And there were a ton of engagements over the Christmas holiday. My Lord.
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about it, we've had all of these events. 2020 was horrible. We've had all of these horrible events that make people feel bad. You want to take advantage of an opportunity to celebrate and smile and think of something that is actually enjoyable and something that you can look forward to, right?
Yes.
So I say take advantage of all of those opportunities.
Yes, that's awesome. What else do you have to offer us, darling?
So for those who may be further into the planning process and are having their weddings coming up soon, because we have these postal delays, I ordered stamps from the post office, right? I ordered like 4 books of stamps. December 19th. I just got them today in the mail. They're just coming from the post office. There's a post office close by my house, but they just got to me. So know that there are postal delays. So order your invitations early and send them out early. So I would say order your invitations about 5 months ahead to give them time to actually get printed and shipped to you so that you have them in your hands. And then mail them out 10 to 12 weeks before your wedding.
Oh, my gosh, 10 to 12 weeks before your wedding?
So normally I advise people to send them out 6 to 8 weeks before their wedding so that they have time to reach the people and they can RSVP and you get the RSVP back ahead of time, right? But because of these delays, we're adding on a month. So 10 to 12 weeks before your wedding, you can get them out in the mail because you don't know how long it's actually going to take for the people to get it. and then have the request that the RSVP come back about 6 weeks before your wedding, because we know that people are late. They'll probably put it in the mail on the day that
can they send the RSVP back via email by putting the email link on there for them to do that instead of trying to wait for it to come back through the United States Postal Service? Because you might as well use a carrier pigeon right now with the way things are going on with the Postal Service, right?
Exactly. So that was another option that I was going to offer, is to create a dedicated email address that is only for this purpose. Don't use your regular email address, because stuff will get lost. I get 50 million spam emails a day, so I know that everybody else does too. So you won't see somebody's RSVP, and then they won't be counted, and then they'll be standing up at your wedding wondering why they don't have a seat. Exactly. So create a dedicated email address that is only for your wedding, only for your RSVPs. So it could be like, my husband's name is Rudy, so let's say it's randyandrudy@gmail.com. It could be that simple. And Gmail's free, so you just set up a temporary email address that's only for the RSVPs, and you can collect them there. But if you're more traditional and you want to receive the paper RSVP in the mail, give them more time to reach you.
So for the more traditional people, I get it. Here's where I'm talking about learning how to pivot, right? You can still have a great invitation created by someone who makes invitations. But instead of sending them out via paper, send the invitations out via email. Beautifully done. You know, tell them we would love to have sent this to you, but with everything that's going on right now, you know, their way, so that way the people who create the invitations don't lose any money. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And we still cut out the middleman, which is the Postal Service. Because I'm telling you, my cousin sent us a card to us at the beginning of December. We got it this past Saturday. They were cracking up when we told them we just got it. Like, the people are still waiting for their packages that are coming through the United States Postal Service. And so with all the things that are going on, I'm not saying don't use your paper. I'm not saying don't send out your beautiful invitations. I get it. I had beautiful invitations before COVID, though, right? And before all the stuff that was going on. So we're giving you options on what to do. You know, so that you know what to, because this is insane. There's too much going on. What is it? But the people are saying on Facebook that these are great things that you're telling folks. So
Thank you.
What else do you have for them?
I appreciate it. Okay, so another tip, again, if you're sending out paper invitations, seal your envelopes with a tape runner or an envelope moistener instead of licking the envelope. Do not lick envelopes.
Ooh. My.
And this can go for any type of mail that you're sending out. Don't lick the envelopes. Use a tape runner or envelope moistener. And there's two reasons for this. One is because you could be asymptomatic and you don't know that you are spreading the COVID disease by licking your envelope.
There you
go. The
go.
other could be that you don't know where that envelope has been before it got to your tongue.
Yes,
and
that's
so,
right. Ugh.
New habit developed. Never ever again lick an envelope. Never ever again.
Wow.
So those are some things that that I wanted to share that can be done in order to still have a great experience being engaged and to still plan a wedding and, you know, make things happen in the way that you would want them to. Don't feel like you're limited and you can't have a wedding, right? If you have had to postpone or you know people who have had to postpone their weddings, check on your friends because they may not be feeling so happy right now. So
I have a question for you, Randy. I have a question for you. Let's say someone wants to host a party, but they can't because COVID, and they want to do something big. Let's say 50 people. Could they hire an event planner to pick up the meals and drop a meal off at each person's house, as long as it's in a certain area? The money that you would spend on a building, you would give it to the event planner that person would then hire a bunch of people to drop off the meals, you know, so that everybody has the same meal at the same time. And with the oh my God, can you imagine a good lunchbox filled with good food?
Let me say that the people like me who are professional wedding and event planners think outside of the box, right? So all you have to do is have a conversation about how you want to be able to create an experience and then let them take over and be creative as long as they stay within your budget. So you have to at least come to the table with your spending limit so that they don't go crazy, because I will tell you, I could go crazy.
Yeah, oh, Lord, we know.
I could go crazy. So you got to tell me how much you want to spend, and then I can tell you what can happen within your budget that would still be an amazing experience for your guests or for the people that are involved in your Zoom event or, whatever.
And you are the consummate professional. I'm telling you, I've worked with you several times. My husband loves you to pieces. He don't want to talk to nobody else but you, right? Because you make it so easy, so simple. You say, what do you want? We tell you what to do, and you just go ahead and get it done. And that's important, right?
Right.
You've just been, we haven't had anything where you didn't just show up and show out from our wedding to my 50th birthday party, to my book signing. You have been amazing. And so I love that you come on here and give folks ideas on what to do as they're planning for their events. How can they reach you quickly because I'm going to have to take a quick break now.
Well, I just put my Facebook
and my website
I saw that. In the chat.
Okay.
Also on Instagram at Trilogy Event Design. I do encourage anybody to schedule a 30-minute call with me. It's free. We can have a video chat or a phone call just to kind of see what the possibilities are. There's no obligation. It's 30 minutes, and we can figure out if it's something that would be a good fit for us to work together on, or I could just make a recommendation to you and you go running on your own.
Yeah, bless your heart. I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you back.
Always a pleasure. Let's see if things get better as life increases and improves. And we'll talk next month, okay?
All right. Thank you
so
much.
Sweetie. Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye. That was Randy Martin. She's the owner and chief event planner at Trilogy Event Design. She has been creating gorgeous, swanky, and indulgent events celebrating all types of occasions since 2006. She is a featured speaker at dozens of bridal events throughout the tri-state area. She also teaches courses in wedding planning certificate program at Temple University. She is really good. And I actually met her because I was working with her children in a program in Abington some years ago. And then when I decided I was going to marry the nerd that I'm married to now, I reached out to her, and she literally kept me off the ledge and alive. This just in, Doug Peterson was fired from the Philadelphia Eagles. So my husband is losing his brain cells because he thought Doug Peterson would have lasted at least another season. When he said it to me this morning, I said, I think they're going to fire him, but I didn't dare say it because my husband is one of them big-time Eagles fans, and so I left it alone. But Doug Peterson has been fired from the Philadelphia Eagles. So it just goes to show, even when I think there was a conflict of interest there with the owner and some of the people that are working in that organization, but only time will tell. I want to say this to you before. Joseph Simmons says, Mother, Charles Blow from the New York Times has an interesting article about reverse black migration back to the South. I am already back there. Come on down. Black folks need to seriously consider dual citizenship, Jamaica, Ghana, etc. So, Joseph, it's interesting that you say that. 2 years ago, I renewed my Jamaican passport, made sure that my children's passports are renewed, and I'm filing for my husband too, so that we can do, if we have to move, that we can. This country is showing us that we can't always depend on it in any way, shape, or form. And so for those of you who have access to have dual citizenship, please go ahead and do it. Even though I am a citizen here of the United States, I never lose my citizenship as a Jamaican national. And so because I gave birth to sons here, I can apply for them to have passports, and I can apply for my husband too. So let's work it out, shall we? Let's see. Oh, you all are loving my hair. I love you all too, but thank you. It was something new that I was trying, and one of the things that I am not is shy. So we're working it out. So the next 40 minutes, the WURD listeners can call in, 215-634-8065. We're going to continue to unpack what's been going on around the country. It is so much. It is a lot. But let's continue to dialogue about it, shall we? You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Keeping you informed. As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where you can get no-cost barrier-free COVID-19 testing this week.
These locations offer free flu shots and coronavirus testing. Thursday, January 14th from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at Mastery Charter School Pickett Campus, 5700 Wayne Avenue. And Friday, January 15th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at Deliverance Church, 2001 West Lehigh Avenue.
Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. This just in. I don't know if how many of you on WURD listening audience have know about the social media site Parler, where conservative people have been hanging out. Lots of folks left Facebook and went over to Parler as they were planning what was going on at the Capitol steps. Capitol building at this point. And so Apple removed them from their platform. Lots of these folks, conservatives that were planning riots and stuff like that, were thrown off Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And so this just in, the creators of the social network Parler, P-A-R-L-E-R, have sued Amazon for ending a web hosting agreement after last week's riot at the U.S. Capitol. Parler claims Amazon Web Services severed ties to stop Parler from competing with the larger social platform Twitter, and it is asking a court to stop Amazon from shutting down its account, arguing that an extended shutdown would be like pulling the plug on a hospital patient on life support. These people are nothing if they're not creative, I got to tell you. Hold on one second. Miss Porter says, she loves the hair, color is fire. Question though, how do you have dual citizenship when this is the only home you have ever known and there is no other home to go back to? There are countries in Africa that was offering dual citizenship to people who were born and raised in the United States. Just Google it and see which ones are. And there are other countries that will give you citizenship if that's what you desire. So you just have to find out, decide where you want to go live, go spend some time there, and apply for citizenship. That's like you would do anything else. You don't have to just stay here in the United States of America and figure out what you need to do. It's totally up to you. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I am answering Ms. Porter's question. She says, how do you have dual citizenship when this is the only home you have ever known and there's no other home to go back to? And so that's what I would tell you. There are other countries around the world that have offered citizenship to United States citizens if you want to have dual citizenship. It's totally up to you, though. Maurice, how are you, sir?
Sir. How are you today?
Child, I'm much better than I was last week.
Well, listen, I was a dual citizenship in the 80s in Montreal, Canada.
Yes.
For 2.5 years, I lived there. All I had to do was prove and got me a job. And I had a little bartending job. They accepted that, and I stayed 2.5 years, and that was one of the most loveliest times. I went during the Rizzo age, so it was drastic. It was so drastic that I was scared of the people up there because they were so nice to me. I couldn't understand why these white folks were not scared of me, and they would stop and speak to me and start conversations for no reason, and I'd be like, oh, they're up to something. It took me like a good 6 weeks to figure out that they were just being nice.
Wow.
So, I had to get a culture change,
Yeah, we're so traumatized, Maurice. It is so traumatized.
Especially the older citizens. See, these young bucks have no idea about what they call racism. We couldn't even ride to the end of the L, because if you rode all the way to the northeast on the L, you would be running to all types of opposition. Or if you went the wrong way, you went to the wrong part of South Philly, you got chased out of there. And I was the second black in 71 in Southwest Philly. So it was like that, too. We had to fight to go to school and fight to come home. So, these young bucks, they have no idea, these so-called activists. I'm not an activist. I act for us, but I'm not an activist. Now, listen, this thing that went down in Washington, I think I told you last week, I really don't care what they did up there. It's none of my business. When white folks are killing white folks, they can go and do all they want. because right now I'm celebrating our wins. See, this thing stole the thunder from our wins. We got Donald Trump out. We got the Senate. We supposed to
And we got
celebrating.
Congress. Yep.
We're supposed to be celebrating right now. This is the time all these fools want to get up here and cry about they want reparations. Well, this is the time to do it. You got the House, the Senate, and you have the presidency.
And the presidency.
This is the only time you can do it. So I don't even hear the talk anymore like they was. This is the time to start all that stuff up. If they want to get it, this is the time. But the only thing I say about it is you got to have a plan. You just can't go there and say, look, we need a check.
Right.
Reparations is more than a check. Reparations is lifestyle. And we got to understand that. We come with a top 10 list and present it, we might get something. But all this, everybody just think they're going to check. White folks don't even want us at the same level as them, so you know they ain't going to want us higher than them. You got to use your brain a little bit. But
I want somebody find Miss Mary and tell her to call me, please. Because Miss Mary has always talked about, you know, making sure that we have a list of things that we need to have done. I hear that she's writing now. Thank God. Thank you, Miss Mary. Put everything in a book so that we know what to expect, because our folks are out here doing all this work.
Well, you know, she's one of the most intelligent black women I have ever met.
She is intelligent, incredibly intelligent.
I'm telling you something. She's full of spirit, but this is what bothered me over the weekend. Now, you know me,
Lord, what they done did to you now, Maurice?
But you know, I see things that other people don't see because I can't see. So that's why. But look, this is what I'm trying to tell you. I heard that the black clergy got together over what happened in Washington and had a special meeting. And I said to myself, what are they having a special meeting for? There's nothing they can do about what happened up there, but you don't have a special meeting about the 500 people that died in Philadelphia?
What was their meeting about?
About what happened in Washington. Come on now. We can't do nothing what the white man doing up there, but you don't do nothing about what's happening here in the city where you do have power. I don't understand.
So let me ask you this. Could they discuss both and? So both what's going on?
Nothing we can do about what the white folks is doing up there. That's their business. They want to go up there and act the fool, which we always told them they were fools. They can go ahead and do that. But when it comes to us, I'm talking about the black clergy. Their concern is us right here at home. You don't go across the street and wonder what your neighbor is doing until you take care of your house and make sure it's clean. And
so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Maurice, because you just said it. We now have not we, because we don't have any. The Democrats now have the presidency, the Senate, and the House.
That's right.
What happens? Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you this. Wait a minute. What happens when people are desperate? Those people who went to the Capitol were desperate. They wanted to keep Donald Trump in office. There are millions strong, not 30,000, 40,000 that you saw. They're infiltrated in between us. There are next door neighbors, our doctors, our lawyers, our teachers. What do you think is going to happen with people who are desperate, Maurice?
Well, this is just my opinion, okay? I can't speak for everybody. I only can speak for what I know. See, I've been around the state more than probably most people that call on this station. I know about white America and Pennsylvania. Most people have no idea. All they know is the urban part. But I've been up in those Appalachian. I've been up in all those small towns. I lived up there for years when I was the only one or two blacks in the whole town. So I know about dealing with white people. And the one thing they do is they take care of their business. We always want to circle around and what about what everybody else is feeling, what everybody else is doing instead of handling our own business. If we handled our own business, we would get more respect. Because you know what? If we didn't kill each other, white folks wouldn't be killing us because they'd be like, hey, I'm not going up in West Philly and starting no stuff because we kill somebody up there, we might not get out of there. See, that's the problem. When they see us killing each other on the news and all that nonsense, that works against us. Now, this is what I'm saying about that. How many white people got killed out of that 500?
One.
A little bit more than that.
One had a taser in his scrotum that went off.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about out of the 500 here.
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. A very small portion. Now, if a white woman and a white child got killed here in Philadelphia, we would be under lockdown right now. There'd be a curfew. See, this is the difference. That's why we got to start handling our business. Let's get out. Let's put in people in City Hall that has orchestra and all that $100 million and all that stuff getting wasted. The white folks got their money. The uppity blacks up in Germantown, they got their money for their rent and their property. South Philly, Southwest Philly, West Philly, we didn't get ours. You know why? Because we have bad politicians. They have meetings on the regular up there all the time. We don't have nothing like that down here. That's why I call their names out all the time. I don't have nothing against them personally because I don't know them, but I watch them. I go to their office. I ask them questions, and then I go up in the Northeast or I go up in West Germantown and ask them the same questions, and I get favorable answers up there. I don't get the same answers I get down here. See, I'm not just talking just to be talking. I actually investigate, which URD hosts used to do, but they don't do that. We got a lot of false prophets on this station.
Hey, present company not included, because I spent a lot of time. Don't play with me now.
Are you a reverend?
Oh, no.
All right, then you're not a false prophet.
You know what? I can't with you.
Hey, look, I got to be. Look. I've been on this station ever since it started. You know, I was here when Cody was the #1 man on this show. He started the morning off.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you've been here since the radio station started, tell me, and I keep asking you this, what are our solutions, Maurice? What are we doing? If the leaders aren't holding the meetings and helping the people, what is the solution, Maurice?
The solution is black people can only help black people. Every time we get a little comfortable, we start relying, thinking that the white man's going to flip and do something for us instead of us doing it for ourselves. If your state rep or your person's not doing what they're supposed to, go to their office and call them out. Don't say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. They probably get them the hard way to go. Just like with the black police commissioner. I don't have nothing against her, but right now she's being used as a pawn. She's used as a pawn. I was the hardest one on her when she first started because I knew she wasn't qualified. But the problem is that she has no backup. We didn't elect her. She works for the mayor. That is it. She don't work for nobody else in the city but the mayor. If the mayor tell her she got to stay in her office and don't come out, she got to stay in her office and don't come out unless she want to resign. She has no backing. None whatsoever.
So, okay,
it's not like the days of Rizzo when he came up through the forces and he had an army behind him. He could make his own policy. But she's new here. She doesn't know South Street from Broad Street. And that she don't know who the players are and who are not the players. Once she knows that, maybe she can make some moves. But in this current administration, when the mayor doesn't have to run again, he doesn't have to worry about being reelected. He is the boss. Nothing can be done. Yeah. And I'm just giving you the facts. I don't like to go wishing and hoping and maybe he'll do this and maybe he won't do this. When we didn't find somebody to run against Kenny in his last term, that fell on us. We did that to ourselves. We getting what we asked for. And until we decide to find somebody that's not in the same gang, and I mean nobody on city council, to run for mayor, that's the only chance we got.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, my brother. You have a good one, okay?
Happy holiday!
Happy holidays to you, too. Bye, sir. Oh, my gosh. Wow. So much going on. It's so hard to really make sense of it all sometimes. But one of the things I know for certain is that white men who are deciding that they want to run for office, and there are quite a few out here that are thinking about running for governor, running for mayor, running for district attorney, running for attorney general, they're going to have a harder time because I'm reading this book called Dark Money. And one of the things that I know for certain is this: while they can put tons of money behind elected officials that they want in office, the people, the will of the people is what folks are still very concerned about, because they realize that once the will of the people rises up, and decide to get out and vote, which is why they spend so much time trying to suppress the black and brown votes. I wrote a piece about that this week, talking about the chickens coming home to roost, laying eggs and everything else. So, you know, when that comes out, I'll let you guys know. But it's interesting. So white men in America are going to have a harder time really running for office. And you may not see it immediately, but as time goes on, you'll start to see more different people that are taking over because folks just have had enough. And it's sad because there are white men in America who would do really well in office, and there are some in office right now that are doing all the right things, trying their best, doing what they need to do. But we are still stuck with far too many that have been in power for far too long. Speaking of power for far too long, I said to my husband this morning, and I wanted to make note of this so that you can say you heard it here first. Let me see if I can pull it up and find it for you. Sometimes I put on my glasses, pull off my glasses, trying to figure it out. I am going to have someone on, a judge on, talking about the judicial gerrymandering in Pennsylvania. This is a serious issue that's coming up soon, and why we have so few people. Judge Luis Felipe Restrepo was nominated back in November of 2014, but Senator Toomey blocked a confirmation. After months of pressure from Why Courts Matter PA and others, Senator Toomey finally backed down and voted to confirm this judge. It says more than 195 million people live in a community with a federal courtroom vacancy. This crisis creates a backlog of cases that undermines our system of justice and makes it difficult for most Americans to have their cases heard in a timely manner. And so that's something that I'm going to talk about soon. I have a judge coming on to talk about the judicial gerrymandering in Pennsylvania, because we need to discuss it. And, you know, someone who's going to be honest with me, because I can't do the dance. Nancy Pelosi, Jim Clyburn, and Steny Hoyer are all 80-plus years old. These are our leadership in the Democratic Party at this point. Who are they grooming to take over? A conversation that I consistently have with each and every one of you. Nancy Pelosi was asked in her interview with CBS, and she says, oh, we got somebody. Just tritely, you know, and she barely won her seat again as the House leader, Speaker of the House. Why is it that we are 80-something years old and still in office? Not knocking any of them. They've all done amazing things. But at what point do you start to groom people to take over these positions so that we can continue to do what we have to do? Why do we have to learn lessons the hard way? When I was reading, well, still reading the book, Dark Money, they talked about the fact that the day that President Obama was inaugurated, a group of men and women, some of them judges, Democrat and Republican, got together to talk about what's next. You know, how are they going to make this happen? President Obama, according to Jane Meyer in this book, and she had 58 pages of citations of where she got her information from. It was amazing. It's a great book to read. She talked about the fact that President Obama walked in thinking that because he had the will of the people that he'd be able to get a lot more done, and they decided for 2 weeks, 6 days, they made him feel like they were going to work across the board with him, and then they started chopping him off at the knees. Supreme Court Justice, all of it, right? And so, Maxine Waters, yep. And that's the thing. They all are, you know, doing what they have to do, and nobody's talking about retirement. You at 65, 70 years old, you should be talking about going to an island, trying to figure out what you're doing next. And it's because we don't give them a space and a place to move on. We should not have all these 80-something-year-olds still running what's going on without them having people that they're grooming behind them. Now, should they push up and tell me, yes, I'm grooming this one, that one, and that one? Instead, there seems to be a fight with, like people like AOC who are younger and get in. It shouldn't have to be a fight. Groom them. I said the same thing with the NAACP. Who are you grooming? Why are there so many elderly people, 89, 90, 95? Where are the younger ones? And we keep hearing you're grooming them. But I know for a fact that when I tried to join my local NAACP years ago in Abington and I asked, can you groom me and a group of, no, we're not doing none of that. We don't have time for that. Just listen to what we tell you. And see, ego comes into play because you can't make things move if you don't get out the way. Let me give you an example. I formed a parenting organization in 2005. By 2007, I said to them, I need each and every one of you at some point to rotate and take an officer's position so you can understand how the organization works properly. And by 2008, 2009, I moved myself off. Like, I wasn't even in the day-to-day. That organization is running smoothly. 2021, so we're now 16 years in because it didn't have founder syndrome attached to it. They didn't hear the name of the organization and then say, oh, that's Andrea Lawful Sanders, she's a part of that. Nope, nobody would know if I didn't tell you. And so that's what I'm talking about. And so these folks have been groomed and the organization will continue to grow. That's what we need to do. But we get so caught up in ourselves and name recognition and I've done this, I was the first one to start this and I was the first one to start that. Instead of, why are we living on what you used to do? Every day is another opportunity to create something different and new and to groom people to do what's right. Say what you want to say about the Republicans and the conservatives and the alt-right, they know how to be patient and to groom and to do what needs to be done. We need to get there. We need to stop trying to fix things in 10 minutes, a year, 6 months. We need to be patient and learn how to work inside in quietly and know that some things are going to fail, some things will not work, but stick to it. Stick to it. Learn from Stacey Abrams, Learn from the folks that have really done the work and stop making it about you all the time. Jesus, I wish some of you would just go sit down and shut up and take a nap. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. Yes, Bernita, we can talk about the upcoming election in May, but guess what? We were so caught up in COVID and pandemic and elections, nobody talked about it except me, because I kept saying there's a district attorney's election coming up, there are judges' seats coming up, and I'm sure the other hosts have talked about it at some level. But we got to get it together. We will be right back after these messages.
Have you heard about City Council's plan to build more affordable housing, repair existing homes, create jobs, and support small business? The Neighborhood Preservation Initiative will invest $400 million in Philly communities. Read about it at www.phlcouncil.com/NPI.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation
as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at WURDradio.com.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Lord, so much is going on. I am told that Madeline Dean was just on MSNBC, and she said that the main reason that many of the Republicans objected to the Biden vote was that because them and their families felt threatened or were threatened. And so it's interesting. I've said this to you all here, that folks have been saying for years on end they want their middle class America back, that they feel like they're not making any headway, and that they don't feel like they're in the majority anymore, and so they're trying to figure it out. I also want you to pay attention that there are many folks in the Republican Party that's splitting the Latino vote. They're Latinas who are going off to because they realize they're more Latinos than anyone else. And so they're splitting the Latino votes by putting some over to their side. The head of the Proud Boys is Afro-Cuban. So just wanted you to make sure that you're paying attention and don't assume that because they're brown skin that they're going to vote for us. They're light-skinned Latinos. And let's just be clear, there's some black folks too that are over on the other side. One guy who was a Republican congressman or wherever he was on Fox News saying he was offended that people were telling him that he could not be at the rally and that he could not support Donald Trump and that he's not someone who would just to be with the Democratic Party because he was black. And he's absolutely right there. We just don't think that because we're black we shouldn't have thoughts and feelings outside of what's going on. And so that's been the problem that we've had, that we've been taken for granted as a people. And you're seeing black women, boy, y'all better go on with it. Go on with it. I'm trying to tell you. You hold on. All right, Miss Madeline, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And it's been a great program. I just want to address two things. Number one, yes, I think you'll find that you have some 70, 80-year-old Republicans, too.
Yes, ma'am, that need to go. Yes.
Depending on where they come from, what the young people want to do. What we have had happen here is our education system has gone down, 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 down. You know that. Everybody in this town knows it. And when you talk about getting an elected school board, everybody shuts up. Nobody says a word about anything that is the foundation for us and our children, which keeps us in the same place. In fact, we are going backwards. We are going out backwards. And then we are the ones supposed to put up the money for even this new $400 million you talked about. They're not putting it so everybody's participating. Listen, if we don't look at things as what they really are, this is deliberate. And when I'm saying to an attorney the other day, they're back to this business, they're going to give us certain judges. Superior Court's going to vote over here. Supreme Court.
I know. I'm going to be discussing the gerrymandering, Miss Madeline. I am. I'm going to be discussing that too, because people need to be aware of what's going on.
But it's more than that, darling. When you can hear them say, out of the whole city, 27% proficiency for our children.
Oh, I know.
This is horrible. It's horrible. And where's the young mothers? They don't have nothing to say. Nobody supports anything by saying it. The brothers who come on, they give you blah, 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 blah. What suggestions did they make? Let's say you're 40. Come on, put a meeting together. People that's interested in education. Let's get that board together for this whole state. We should have at least 2 congressmen here in Pennsylvania. Why do black ones?
Yes.
Because we got about 6 or 7 of them, right? We have 1. We never got more than 1. And we had to almost go to fight for that one. Listen, everything we got, we have fought for. Don't let them take it away. I remember Ruth Harper, North Philly, legislator. There was something about the district. They didn't want us to get another one. They're going to take her seat and give it to somebody and redistrict so that they could get another one in South Philly.
Yep.
They do what they want to do because we won't pay attention.
Yep.
We have got to pay attention.
But you know what's so interesting for me, Miss Madeline? Listen to this. We're fussing about Republicans, but they're Democrats doing this foolishness. You know, not doing what they're supposed to do, which is allowing those things to happen. Because pay attention. Listen to this. We have a primary election coming up in May. How come we don't hear much about it? How do we not know who's running for office?
People are afraid to talk. They're afraid to talk. We're going to try to get some judges. Where do the judges want to go somewhere else? Why do all the judges want to leave the Philadelphia court system? I know we have heard the whispering about how they've been treated for the last 3 or 4 years. Now, I used to could go to court twice a month, sit in the back of the courtroom to see my feel for the judges, how they talk to the people, how they treat them, the kind of decisions they come down with. I can't do that anymore. I don't know nobody who does it. When we try to find out what's going on in the court, I would like to have a list of the cases and people who have made complaints against the judges. All of a sudden, everybody wants to go to Superior Court for 22. for 22. Listen, we need to know what's going on here in Philadelphia right now.
Miss Madeline, let me ask you this. Miss Madeline, let me ask you this. Did you get the list of cases and people who were filed complaints against judges? Did you get that list?
No.
Where did you file? Where did you ask for it?
Everybody I asked kept saying, "Oh, okay, wonderful, absolutely wonderful."
Where did you request this, Miss Madeline?
Would like to have that to see
Where
is going on.
Where did you, Miss Madeline? Hear me, Miss Madeline. Where did you request this from? Where did you request it?
I don't want to name the name.
Oh, got you. Okay, but so there's no place in the city government where you.
The sisters are being treated so bad from what I'm hearing now, but they don't want to say it. They don't want to act. They don't want to verify.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, we can't help them if they don't help us to help them. You understand what I'm saying? Because I heard the same thing too. I've heard that the judges, some of the black judges, are being treated horribly. But if someone isn't, letting us know exactly what's happening. I know Michael Cord has spoken about some of it in recent weeks and months and years. But we're going to, Lord, so much going on in this city. So much.
Somebody's room, in somebody's dressing room.
Mm-hmm. Somebody did what?
And a note saying, "No black B would ever be the head of the Court of Common Pleas." Yes, they did. That ain't been too long ago.
I know. I heard that story too. I can verify that because I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. But I'm saying if we know what it is and we can put some power to it, we need people, and this is my big thing, is that we need people who respect other black people. You don't have to like them.
Yes.
You have to respect them by the way they handle situations, what they want to put in the pot. No, not coming with your hand out and like that's the only thing to be. We need our own lobbyists here in Philadelphia. I mean, just even within Philadelphia itself, to go around and do things. Because when you talk about it, the people who have skills, they don't want to get involved because they never want to lose the opportunity of getting more money. Right. And then the people at the bottom pay all the prices, penalties, by how we get treated, and with our children getting less education, not being able to move forward.
Yeah, the education system is really bad too. It's a lot going on here. We have some diamonds in the Philadelphia school districts, and the ones that are diamonds, I so applaud and love on them because they've had a hard way to go to get the kind of education that they need, except for the few really good schools that are out here. Some of these schools are really struggling.
A few. You're absolutely right on the few. Yeah. And, it's just more than a notion. But I thank you. I thank you for what you bring to the table.
Yes, ma'am.
And the minister for allowing you.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a joke.
Well, it is a joke.
Only because your respect for each other. I love your respect for each other. Let me just put it on the table.
Love and respect each other.
How you say it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Miss Madeline. You have a good one, okay?
I woke up this morning, and hopefully tomorrow morning it'll be the same. With a reasonable portion of health
Yes, ma'am.
And mine ready to go. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye. Tell George to hold on. Let me take a quick break, and then I'll take him. And tell him I don't have my heartburn medicine. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Livelihood. The new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Lifting every voice
till earth and heaven ring.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Let me go ahead and take George, then Gary. George, how are you, sir?
And how are you doing today, Andrea?
Now, listen to me, George. Don't give me no Maalox. I don't have any Maalox, George. Who's going to get it today?
Listen, nobody will get it today. They can take their helmets off after I get off the phone. I advise them to keep it on while I'm on the phone. Ms. Dunn was talking about, the judges there. The ones that, Karen Simmons was the judge she was talking about that they did.
Yes.
That was about 4 or 5 years ago. And, that was more ignoramuses. It wasn't even the judges who did that. It was basically a person out of traffic court that was used to be in charge down there that moved over to the municipal court part that everybody believed that, and I know for a fact that they probably did it because that's how much hatred they had. I just can't think of the person's name right now. But that's where it came from. They just could never prove it because it wasn't seen. The cameras and all that was off. And, but that's that. Another thing is that people run away with stuff when it comes to race, of talking about those judges being this, that, mistreated. A judge is only mistreated if they permitted to be mistreated or disrespected because each judge there is equal. Is no other than the president judge and, the judges that have that. And they're not even over you. They're just the ones who are in administrative position. But who in their right mind is going to disrespect the judge? It just don't work that way.
Hey, George, stop for a second. So I have judge friends in the Montgomery County court system. Oh, it works that way.
Different.
They literally, no, George, let me tell you. And I know judges in the Philadelphia court system, too. They stick certain judges in certain positions. If they don't really like them, they put them over into certain courts, and leave them over there with 1,000 cases. It happens all the time. There are ways you can stick it to people without it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean, that there is administrative, like I say, But if you don't speak up, a lot of them get transferred to a division they don't like, but they never say anything. I mean, if you don't speak up, then you never heard. They think you like it. Somebody got to do the position. Somebody got to do it. So, I listen to it and say, well, if you getting disrespected, apparently you letting it go on because there's enough people you could talk to stop it. All those people work there got a boss. You go to their boss. Why go to the work if you can go to the boss? You know who their sponsor is, who put them there, so you go to their sponsor. Yo, man, I'm having a problem with your person. Talk to them. Straighten them out. You say, okay. They get right on the phone. Yo, Judge so what's the problem with you and them? Oh, it's no problem. Well, they didn't want to be there. Change it. You know what it is? The next day it's going to change you. It's just like police. When police don't want to be somewhere, they go to whoever that person's sponsor is and say, yo, well, I don't want to be there. They say, okay, the next change sheet, they're gone. It's all about what you know and who you know. It's basically that way. Let me say this, Andre. This whole thing about facial recognition, Everybody thinking that those rednecks is getting away with something. When those real white folks get tired of you, you become a problem. They get rid of you.
Hey, yo, George, did you see them in the no-fly zone? They're trying to get to airports and get on planes, and they've been put on the no-fly zone by the FBI. Woo, honey.
That's what I was getting ready to say. When they all
are
went
dragging
to
them
Reagan,
down in the airport like, no.
When they went to the Reagan International Airport, they was automatically flagged. The Marshal Service has quietly moved them all to the side. Said, "Can you step over here, minute, sir, please?" And they said, "We'd like to do a facial recognition." Within like a half a minute, anybody, anywhere you was in that vicinity within 5 miles came up on the computer, and they knew exactly where you were at. And if you were one of those ones ramming them doors, my daughter is one of the marshals, and she said, "Dad, you wouldn't believe how many people we're locked up, and at 1:30 Monday they'll be in bail, and they're going to be denied." They keep all that quiet. But they locked up over at Ronald Reagan Airport. They locked up about 2,000 people or more.
And they were locking them up left and right. There were videos of them too. Yep.
Did you see all the people when they were checking out of the hotels? How the marshals were grabbing them, taking them to the side, doing facial recognition. All those people got caught on facial recognition. Remember now, your driver's license, any type of ID you have, once you hit that facial recognition, and they do it, hit it in the computer, that satellite hit it, within minutes they know exactly where you are and who you are. So all that crazy stuff, let me tell you, those are not real white folks. They think they are, but they're not. Them real white folks don't play all that stupid stuff because you're messing with money, you're messing with the economy. They don't need that. You know, most of them kids, they got mixed kids. You know, their daughters or sons that mess with a black girl or Hispanic, whatever. It's more. Philadelphia had more interracial relationships. Only ones have more in San Francisco. We have more interracial relationships than anybody in the country. You can ask your phone, you know, and that's what makes Philadelphia so different. When people talk about education, remember this here. This is the biggest hustle going in this city is education. The dumber you are, the more money they. What is the incentive of them to educate you or teach you anything or make you smart? That means that the guy who got a $300,000 house or whatever for his kids and he got $1 million mansion, he got to pay for that. So if he's doing tutoring or he contracted with this one or that one, all that money's paid out of the school. If you want to get on somebody, get on Height because Height has been there and he hasn't moved the system in any kind of way which you could ever think. When people talk about dilapidated schools, that's the biggest lie too because those old schools been sold to make condominiums. Now everything is a charter school. So therefore, are they getting educated better? Yes. But do they have the proper tools that they should have? No. Because why? The Philadelphia public school system just doesn't give it to them. And if you look at the school board, it's the same creeps that came from the SRC. Most of them should be in some type of nursing home or something, or, you know, somewhere trying to put their dementia medicine together. They got that same old crew from the year John Street and Rendell was there. They're the same ones who's running the school system, giving out contracts, jobs to friends and family. It's horrible. You know, they don't like me saying that, but I don't care. Ain't nothing they can do. All they better do is keep their mouths shut and hope I just don't start talking about them. But I'm telling you, education and educating people is not their thing. The dumber you are, the more money they make. They ain't trying to teach you nothing. They want you to get out there and protest and holler and scream, but nobody ever demands that they be removed. And until you want to see the schools change that whole school board. Get rid of everybody there.
So, George, let me say this to you. I think it goes beyond the school board. I really do, and I think it goes beyond the superintendent. I believe that there are people in the superintendent's cabinet that needs to go. The same people that have been there over and again. So listen to me. And there are people that are working in those cabinet positions that are collecting a paycheck and haven't done 4 days worth of work. And when you talk to them about what needs to happen, they're not giving people what they should do to move forward with their jobs. And they're in charge of folks. So if we get 2 more superintendents, we're going to continue to have the same thing until we start rooting out some of those folks in the cabinet, the folks in the higher positions that are not doing their jobs. Go and independently. Well, wait a minute, George, because I'm telling you, let me say this, because school boards set policy. School boards don't hire the cabinet members. And Dr. Height walked in, and lots of them people have been there, right, that have been there for a long time. Lots of them were there before Dr. Hike get there. Lots of them are going to be there after Dr. Hike leaves. I had a confidential conversation with a friend of mine who said that if they ever became superintendent of the Philadelphia School District, they would fire everybody in the cabinet and make them reapply for their jobs. That's when you'll start to see shift and change happening. But right now, everybody's passing the buck. It's not my job. I don't know what to do. What's going on over here? Why are some schools doing well while other schools aren't doing well? They've got to come up with a plan to make sure that all these children are serviced well. And if the district is too big, then do something. So yes, at the head of it is Dr. Haidt, and yes, he holds some responsibility, but no, I'm going to tell you that whether he was there or not, this thing has been going downhill since Constant Clayton. Let's just talk about it and be about it, right?
But
downhill.
Let me say this here. You know who was the primary source of destroying the Philadelphia school system? Was Dwight Evans. When they took it over and the state took it, you don't have to believe it. The facts are there. The point is that Dwight Evans and John Prezell took it over. They drained it. All Dwight's people are still there. All those people with them educators and all that there from the Northwest, they all sitting there. It was almost like a no-show job. I mean, they ran it. They ran it to the point it was only for jobs, for people. It was a patronage heaven. People don't like to hear that. Oh, Dwight would never do that. No, you're right. He took the parking authority, and he took the school because it was the biggest money chain it was, okay? It was like a cash cow, okay? They trained it for all it was worth because there was plenty of jobs, and all him and John Prezell was interested. At least John Prezell was honest about it. Hey, it's plenty of jobs here, plenty of money. I'm going to give my people jobs. He was a Republican, and he was honest about it. I mean, to this day here, Dwight Evans will not admit that they just didn't like John Street, so they took it. They took it. They poked him and took it. Wasn't no other way to say it. But people still make excuses for that. Dwight Evans is responsible for the way the Philadelphia school system is messed up because they drained it, and all they did was put a bunch of incompetent people in there because they were political friends or they worked in a campaign, they needed a job, so they gave them a $75,000, $80,000 a year job, and that's how the school system was messed up. People don't like to hear it, but it's the truth.
Thank you, George. Thank you. I can't. I'm going to listen. Thank you, my brother. You have a good day. We'll talk tomorrow again, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Gary, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
You know, I love giving people. See, the thing about me is I don't just talk to people that everybody agree with. I talk to everybody,
right.
Give everybody a shot,
exactly.
right? Because that's the way it's supposed to be. I tell you, George called up in here, and I'm like, and let me get my Lanta, my Maalox, because George is something else.
Andrea, first thing I wanted to say, I just love your hair.
Thank you. You like my hair, Gary?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I wanted to say that's one of the things I really appreciate about you also. You let people speak their mind. I do. Everybody has an opinion, and sometimes it may not be correct, but still, people have to be allowed to vent and express what they feel inside. But I'll say this. When you talk about their school district, billions of dollars go through there on an annual basis, man. And when I was there, it's like, you see the people coming in, the contractors, and most of them didn't look like us. And that money was just going through there. But then when you go out to the schools, and I sat in those classrooms, the conditions are deplorable. Mm-hmm. It's like, how long are we going to put up with our children being neglected, shortchanged, and disrespected? Mm-hmm. It's sad. And we have to take some responsibility for that. I used to go to those school board meetings. A lot of times you didn't have most of the time you didn't have a lot of parents there. But until we start holding people accountable, just like we have these people in city council, or I should say, let me back up, politicians. I hate the term politicians. Mm-hmm. What we need to have is public servants that are going to work for us and work for our communities. And right now, it's sad that we don't have that situation, and they can get offended, and they can be mad, and they can be sad, or they can be whatever they want. But when you get the Philadelphia School District, it's deplorable. Mm-hmm. So how is that an environment for our children to go to where they really want to sit down and learn? And also, I have to put some responsibility on the parents because you got to be engaged with your child. But if we're paying your salary to represent us, we should be getting a lot better than what we're getting, Andrea. And that's just the truth.
And I notice when we have these deep conversations and people call in with the comments like this, you don't hear not one of them call in and say anything. And I just want to know why that is.
I don't know, Gary. And why is it acceptable for some schools to get all the services and all the money and other schools to just be left to fall apart? And it's in those communities where we see the most violence, because when people don't have options, when they don't get the love, and I can't stand it when folks call in here talking about, well, their parents don't care about them and the parents have, don't show up for things. But if you're being paid $5 an hour and you have to work 2-3 jobs, this system is jacked in so many ways, right? And so we put the blame on the people who are trying to make a living so they can keep a roof over the head of their children. And when they can't do that and the children have to jump in and to help to support the family, it's a lot, And some people, when trauma hits them, they go to using drugs. It's very interesting how we tackle Black and brown folks using drugs versus white folks using drugs, right? They need help. And so if we're going to do this, we have to look at everybody, the whole, and not just pick and choose who we want to feel sorry for. So these are the things that are constantly in my head and my mind as we go through this. And America's stuff, the sickness that is America, the division that is America, this is the pushing some people over in one side and looking out for others on the other side. And it's so interesting that so many of us have gotten caught up in the duplicity that's causing so many others to suffer and die. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Andrew, I just wanted to say one more thing. When you look at the situation that happened in D.C., right now, looking at that situation and knowing if it were people that look like me, that would have never happened.
Oh, child, you already
I'm praying that it opened our eyes to see the hypocrisy in this country when it comes to our people and the lack of resources, the lack of respect, and everything else that goes on. Just like when we talk about our politicians, they're not really working for us. They're not really trying to improve our condition. And now that whole thing about white privilege, if this doesn't open our eyes to see that that's really true, it is, because they were allowed to do that and get away with it, whereas we would never even have gotten to the corner trying to do what they did.
Child, please. The National Guard would have been laid out up there. We wouldn't have gotten to the corner. And here's the other thing. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has 2 years. 2 years to get something done, because these folks are not just going to go home and lay down. They're going to plan to put people to run against folks in the Senate and in the House. And so we've got to be smart and to be able to not only hold on to the seats, but gain more seats if you want to create a change. And if Joe Biden doesn't get it together in 2 years with Kamala, she's going to have a hard time trying to run for president in 4 years when he's done. Because Joe Biden looks old and worn out now. Like he's 80-something years old. He's not going to make it 2 terms. So
look like he has some lapse in memory.
Right? Yes. So we better start planning now and stop. I love that we're relishing in the fact that the presidency, the House, and the Senate belongs to the Democrats. But quite frankly, the Democrats have been very disappointing to us over long periods too. And so they've got to get themselves together too, right? And lots of them have been complicit. So we're getting it from either end. So I don't want folks to think that I'm just looking at white folks on one end. Nope. Because quite frankly, lots of those people that went out to the Capitol, they weren't just Democrats. They were just white folks and people that were conservatives who believed that they wanted their country back. You don't have to be a Democrat or a Republican for that. Hear what I'm telling you? So there you go.
And Andrew, thank you for saying that, because we need to wake up and understand that that white privilege is real, and we've been the victim since we came here. And I'm going to say, as I always say, America would not exist if it were not for our ancestors, Andrea. We built this country and contributed so much to it. And for any politician that looks like me to sit at his or her desk and sit back and stay in office for 25, 30 years and do absolutely nothing is the biggest form of betrayal, and it's disgraceful. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Take it easy. Before I take Anton Moore, who I've been looking forward to talking to, let me get Tyrone. Tyrone, are you there?
Yes, mother.
Listen, they got me so upset I can't even sing. I think you better call Tyrone. What's up, darling?
Hey, mother.
Yes.
I want you to take just a deep breath for a minute, because, I hear folks talking about education, the police, the judges. We got so many things that we already know we need to look at and address in this country. But learn from it. And that's why I do apologize when I called last week and you was fired up and
I was
going at it. And I, spoke about the young people. Because right now, this is a very, very good teachable moment for our young people. And they need not to be getting so many mixed messages.
Yes.
Because the question that was asked over and over again, if it was us. And again, if it was us, it wouldn't be no discussion about who was there, who got in there, because we wouldn't have been able to move the barriers that was around there.
Yes.
So I'm saying, please, everyone, look at, again, what we're talking about, the last, the brother that says about the politicians and the school district. Right now, our children are in desperate need of education. We know it. And I, work with young people, and the first question I ask them, how was their day with virtual learning? Did you learn something? Were you able to contribute anything? Because right now, I keep saying, our young people, what they going through, they need to be teaching their little brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, children down the street, because they have to help out the children under them to keep them from going what they're going through, because it is a crying shame what our young people are going through with this killing, with, the disrespect, with the not, having the opportunity to really learn something that's going to promote them in the future. So right now, everything should be a learning experience for our children so that they don't have to repeat what our young folks are going through right now. So, Mother, I love you as always.
All
and
right,
I appreciate you allowing me to share. But I want to just say to you, Mother,
yes, sir.
You are a superb, supreme teacher. So don't let all this stuff coming at you take you off of your spot or who you are and the things that you do.
Yes, sir.
I'm coming right now.
Understand. Talk to you later.
Okay,
all right.
love you.
Bye, Tyrone. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I am so glad that we have this next person on the air with us, because he is going to talk about some of the things, some of the solutions that he's created in his community, which is, I can't fuss and complain without talking to people who have created solutions and made things happen. I am going to read his bio. Then I'm going to take a break, and so that he and I can talk full speed ahead. Anton Moore works as a freelance TV producer, a community activist, and an event planner. He is president and founder of Unity in the Community, a nonprofit dedicated to bringing about change to the lives of South Philadelphians. Anton's been called a game changer, CBS News, a hero of the community, and one of the city's promising young leaders in Billy Penn's list for who's next in public service. In 2016, he was appointed by Governor Wolf to be a member of the Pennsylvania Commission on African American Affairs, which serves as the Commonwealth's advocate agency for the African American community in Pennsylvania. He and I are going to talk about that because I'm about to start this new commission, the Law Enforcement Commission. Should be interesting. For 7 years, he produced and booked talent for television segments for Black Entertainment, BET, Rap City, for BET Award Show specials, and the BET Hip Hop show The Deal. He started in broadcasting as an intern at WUSL Radio, Power 99 FM, and went on to be a show producer, promotions assistant, and on and on and on. Anton was born in Philadelphia and was raised in the Tasker Homes housing development there. So, Anton, hold on for a second. I'm going to take a quick break, and then you and I are going to have a good conversation. Okay, sir? All right. All right, hold on. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
WURD presents the hashtag Black Words Book Club. Tune in every second Tuesday of the month in 2021, starting on Tuesday, January 12, on Evening Words with me, Nick Taliaferro.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
The WURD Radio Newsletter.
Keeping you informed, engaged, and connected.
Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio. Messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese. Exclusive articles and multimedia content and resources.
Stay informed
with the WURD Radio Newsletter.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I am about to have a conversation with Anton Moore, who launched the nonprofit organization Unity in the Community in 2009. Over the past 4 years, the organization has planned and organized numerous philanthropic initiatives dedicated to changing the lives of others in South Philadelphia. He is on because he's one of those people. He will fuss and complain, but he's out there doing the work and helping the families. Anton, sir, how are you?
Good afternoon, mother.
Well, Anton, I'm telling you, I don't know whether I'm coming or going some of these days, but I think go ahead.
I think that's how we all feeling, right?
Yes. So let's talk a little bit first about what happened last week and what your interpretation of it was. And you're close to you're in Southwest, correct?
South Philly.
You're in South Philly.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
They call it Southwest Philly, but it's South Philly.
It's South. I can't. I don't know. What have you heard from folks that are not our hue since this has happened? And what was your interpretation of what took place last Wednesday?
Well, I watched after that happened. After I watched Malcolm X the movie, and I read his books about 3 or 4 times. And the only line I could take from that movie and that book is the chickens
come
home to roost. You know what I mean? And then some of the stuff, that people were embracing for X amount of years and exciting and, oh, Trump this and, oh, Trump that. See, the thing about it is if you look at it, Trump always was like this. You get what I'm saying? He just finally pushed the button of hate to say, you know what, go after them. And he turned on his own people.
Because he was having a watch party. There's video that has surfaced of him and his son and some of the other family members doing a watch party in a tent close by as the people were riling up. And there was video of him and Giuliani and Don Jr. and Clarence Thomas's wife, like all these folks. Now all of a sudden, we regret the violence that have happened. We didn't have anything to do with any of those things. But the fact of the matter is this has been going on for years on end. And so, now that it has all come back, how do you think, because if, Anton, there is a piece here. Hold on. Let me open this up so I can talk about it with you. And tell me what you think about this. This was written by the Philadelphia Inquirer, Mike Newell and William Bender. A Philadelphia police detective from the unit that investigates the backgrounds of potential recruits has been temporarily reassigned based on a tip that she attended the rally in Washington where President Donald Trump incited his followers to storm the Capitol. Detective, they named her, Jennifer Gugger, was removed from her position in the Philadelphia Police Department's Recruit Background Investigations Unit on Saturday after Internal Affairs received social media posts indicating that she had been at the Wednesday event, department sources said. Sergeant Eric Grip, a police spokesman, confirmed that the detective had been reassigned from that unit pending the outcome of the investigation, but would not confirm the detective's identity. And so when you hear stuff like that, what are your thoughts?
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Because now, everything is starting to reveal itself. It's something that we already knew. Do you know how many officers that are in, police forces around America that love Donald Trump? Picture this, Ms. I'm sure, Ms. Andrea, you've been to Washington, D.C., and you've been to the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And you see how the security is around that place. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I honestly, this is just my personal opinion, believe that, some of the officers are standing there just letting them, protesters come in there. Because if you look at some of the film, you can see some of the people walking past officers. You see some of them taking selfies with officers. But I have to tell you something, that, a lot of the law enforcement around America is poisoned with the ideology and the thinking of Donald Trump. They love this. This is what they live for, and they love to divide people. And as you was able to see, some of his own people fell victim, to the hate.
Yes.
People that came to protest and stormed the Capitol ended up dead. You had an officer that ended up dead. You know what I mean? And if you notice, Trump did not once come out and say, I give my condolences on the passing of that police officer. So that tells you something.
They're saying a screenshot of a Facebook post that she has since taken down but was reviewed by the Inquirer. Gaga, using the name Jenny Lynn, tagged friends she said were at the rally and posted photos of the Washington Monument and a small crowd on the street. You know what her hashtag was? Stop the steal, drinking beers with fellow patriots, she wrote.
Wow. Wow. You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder how many of her other friends are in on that as well in the police department. You have to wonder that. And I believe, this is a reality check for America. You know what I mean? This is a reality check. America was woken up last Wednesday of the hate and the bigotry that's been going on for years.
And it's really tough because the police officers that are doing their jobs and trying their best are surrounded. And listen, I've been working with them for almost 3 decades, and I could tell you some stories. The ones that are doing their jobs are so disgusted, but they feel so targeted because when they open up their mouths to say anything, they're targeted. They're given horrible. Some of them have quit the force just to not even be a part of it anymore. They don't send them out with details. They put them in horrible shifts, put them in places where there are ways to shut people down. And so what I believe, Anton, is that police departments all around the country now has to revamp. They're going to have to start going through all these folks, looking at their track record. Oftentimes when a police is caught up in a shooting, when you go back and you look at their track record, so far you haven't been able to pull all of that stuff. But the Senate has passed a bill the House has passed a bill that I guarantee you will pass the Senate now, and you're going to see a mass exodus of police officers coming down the pike because some of them are going to end up getting arrested for using their badges to do things that were so against the law. Committing murder and all sorts of other things. And so it makes it difficult for the officers that are doing their jobs, right, and putting their lives on the line, black, white, and brown, I've had conversations with so many of them who are so disturbed, but nobody hears it because they lump all police officers in one bucket. You see what I'm saying? And it's difficult. It's very difficult for them. So it's hard. We in some trying times, I got to tell you.
It's some rough times.
And it's going to get rougher, right? So I'm trying to warn people to get, come on, Anton. People have to get themselves together. We can't just keep hanging out like this. So talk to me about what you've been doing in South Philadelphia and what you're seeing. You heard us talking about education. You heard us talking about lack of jobs. What's going on in your area, your community that you've been working with?
Well, this last year, we've been doing some great things. We've been assisting young people. They say college is, passes to the future. We've been helping, kids go to college, getting them money for their books, but also getting them funded for their books to go to college. We've been giving out, food on a weekly basis for the last 9 months, 2 times a week to help families, that are struggling. We've been working with young brothers, helping them get jobs. helping families, pay their utility bills and different things like that. Getting young brothers, at-risk young brothers off the streets who are involved in, a lot of the gun violence that are going on in the neighborhood. So we've been fairly busy, but I wanted to make sure that we keep our, our finger on the pulse and continue to engage the neighborhood on these tough issues.
So when you say get the young brothers off the street that have been committing this violence, what are you guys doing specifically?
So a lot of the young brothers, are looking for opportunities. You see the social media beef going on. I'm not a detective, and, I can't go and, go into the case. What I do offer my services and helping these young brothers do something positive with their lives. We was able to get a lot of good young brothers off the streets and get them working in the workforce, whether it be jobs, working elections and stuff like that, or permanent jobs, to help turn them around. Because a lot of times, what a lot of people don't understand, a lot of these young brothers are looking for help. They're crying out for help. And a lot of times people think, oh, well, you know what, let's just throw them in jail. Let's just throw them away. No, you have to roll up your sleeves, listen to the young brothers, and then see how you can help them. A lot of times they don't have that. But, Angie, a lot of these young brothers are growing up in single-parent households. They don't even know what it is to be a man. They never had a man in their life to show them what it is to be a man. So we take on those responsibilities. We mentor these young brothers, and we turn a lot of young brothers' lives around. And your good friend Chris Norris, me and him talk about it all the time. In order to really, really, really to get deep in this work, you got to roll up your sleeves.
Someone, Lucy, said, you are heaven sent. Words cannot express how much we love, she loves and appreciates you. If anyone can turn things around, it's you. You're well known and well loved by everyone that comes across your path. And that is true. We spend a lot of time on this radio station talking to folks who are like, this is wrong and that is wrong. You have consistently stepped up to help your people in the community. You talked about paying utility bills and finding jobs and getting brothers off the street, because they're looking for something to do. And instead of judging them, you've found ways to work. What is it going to take, Anton, you think, to get more people doing what you have been doing and consistently? What is it going to take? Talk about what is it like to do what you've been doing.
It's tough because when you gotta have a love for people. You gotta have a heart for people. You know what I mean? And you gotta realize you gotta get the headlines and the cameras out the way. You gotta look a brother in his eyes and be willing to listen. Let me tell you this. Sometimes people go for, a citywide approach to fix things. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to this part and that part. No. If everybody was able to step up and do their part in their neighborhood, on their block, on the street that they live on, we'll have a different community. The problem is we don't have enough people that's willing to step up. You see a lot of people who do great work in Center City and amongst elite people, but when you go to the neighborhood, they look around and say, well, you're doing this great work. Well, nobody know you. What are you doing? That's because we have to look at the young brothers and the young sisters in our community, and we have to be a resource to them. And that's what I mean by being within your community and becoming a resource and tapping into what's taking place in your neighborhood. Ms. Lucy, who just sent you a message, she informed me she had a young brother that wanted to go to college, who was struggling, who had some problems at his home. We made sure we was able to get some money to help that young brother get out of the neighborhood and go to college. That is the type of stuff that's going to change our neighborhood. We need men to step up. We need caring people like yourself, like Ms. Lucy, like yourself, Ms. Andrea, to get up off the couch and say, you know what, let me see what I can do on my block in my neighborhood. Because if everybody took the initiative to take care of their block and their neighborhood and their street, we'll have a different community.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And which is why I can't stand all the moaning and complaining, because this is, we complain and we just don't have a solution, and the solutions are right there. And so it's really going to take, you're right, you've got to love people. When I am on the air, when I was asked, what my platform was going to be when I was first asked to do this, I said education right off the bat, off the bat. Because you got to love young people and find ways to encourage them and to give them their voices authentically, And when they get their voices and they're able to speak up and they have a platform for this, then they can do so much goodness, And I see you're doing it in South Philadelphia, you know. But you're also right, Anton, in that folks want the glory and just don't want to do the work. Where do all these? I almost cussed and got the FCC on my tail. Where did all these lazy behind people come from?
They want the glory and they want the Facebook glow and the social media glow, but this is really hard work.
Yes.
Like having a young brother who just come out of jail and is basically saying, look, if I don't get something, I'm going to end up back in jail for the same stuff. He might go rob somebody. He might go kill somebody. Or he might end up dead. You know how many families that I get phone calls from of their loved one being gunned down and shot dead in the neighborhood, and we have to go find a resource to get that family member buried. But on top of that, we have to try to make sure that there's no retaliation as well to keep the beef going, and it's tough. Like, people don't understand. Some mornings I wake up, I have a big headache saying, oh, my God, I pray to God that this kid don't make this turn and go back to the streets. I pray that he get up and go to work every day like he's supposed to. Even if we had to buy him trans passes or buy him lunch, to you know, make sure he go to work and stuff like that, it's a challenge, but it's worth it. It's worth it. For a kid to say, you know what, you helped me change my life, it feels good when you hear that.
Jesus. Anton, I wish I had. How are you able to recruit other leadership? Have you tried recruiting other stable-bodied people to do this?
And we're tapping into young people. You know what I mean? The young souls, and even older people too, to tap in and say. Sometimes people call me, or I go out and speak to kids. I tell them, look, don't try to go into this big, grand thing like, oh, this and that. Look at your neighborhood. When you step outside the door, look right, look left, and I promise you, there's an at-risk kid on your block that you can help. That's how we make change. Not, oh, let's go out here and go to City Hall and protest and march. All that stuff is cool. But make sure before you make your way to City Hall that when your 2 feet land outside, you look left and right and see the young brothers and young sisters and the families that need help. That is how we change it. See, a lot of times people look at it and say, oh, we had 500 murders, things are getting so bad. No, that's what the media tell you. Think about the young kids that graduated from high school that went on to college. Think about the everyday fathers and them brothers that go to work every day and they take care of their family. Those statistics will never be reported because that's what they don't want us to know. And a lot of times we act off emotions and panic and say, oh, we got to do something. Everything is so crazy. No, go back to the basics. Let's salute the Deceptor driver. Let's salute the trash man. Let's salute the mentor that's in the community that go to work every day but still work with the young men. Let's stop trying to look for this grand solution, because when you look for that grand solution, you miss out on the small things in the community, which matters, and that's everyday people.
Anton, you lucky COVID happening, child. I have to come find you and give you a hug because you got so much wisdom. It makes absolutely no sense. So good, since you can't seem to get the elders, the older ones to step up and to help you, keep recruiting the young ones, and the ones that are going to come back are the ones where you have helped who thought they had no option and you stepped in the gap to help them. I so appreciate you. What keeps you going, Anton? How do you find your space of peace and gratitude in the middle of all of what you do every single day?
You know what? You got to learn. Well, one, God. I believe in God. But you got to learn to encourage yourself. And you have to hang on to your wins. And when I say wins is look at your success. Your success in helping people. And when you look at your success with helping people, it helps you to keep going. So when I look and I see, oh, this person was murdered, that person was murdered, I say, yo, we just helped 5 brothers get off the streets, that's working right now and that's doing something positive. That's what keeps you going. You know what I mean? A lot of times, people get frustrated and get upset because of the lack of sometimes what they're doing. You know what I mean? You have to manifest and speak things into existence. When I see 500 murders, I said, we're going to lower that number, but as long as I'm doing my part is what helps me keep going. You know what I mean? How can we help, like, black businesses? Last year, I was able to get, a cell phone company, Cricket Wireless. Look, I want to invest in these black businesses. If people don't know, black businesses businesses are the ones that hire people within the community. So every 2 weeks, you was going to a different black business. The company will make a donation to the black business. They will feed the community for free, but the restaurant will give out their flyers to let people know they exist, and the community would take their food for free, and the company would invest in them. That's full circle right there.
Wow. Yes, Anton. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I hope these folks that are always fussing and complaining are listening to you because it's the only way we're going to make a difference. It is. It absolutely is. I said last Thursday, I said, we spend so much time wanting to get our name in lights.
Mm-hmm.
Those of us who are really doing the work have created and done things that you all would never know about because we don't need to have our name in lights, right? Just getting the work done. You're sitting there doing the work, helping so many people. And you're right. If you see the glass as half empty, 500 people are murdered, but you were able to keep all these brothers off the street and to get so many to go off to college and, you know, to give them a better way of life. That could be 5,000 instead of 500. So we have to see, you know, and to make sure that what we can get done is done. But there's something, our trauma has elicited something in so many of us where we're just like, I'm not doing anything if you're not paying me for it. I'm not doing it if you're not putting my name in lights. I'm not doing it if I'm not getting an award. Dear God up in heaven, your award is making sure that your community gets better and stays better. It's something else. Who inspired you to get to this place, Anton?
You know who I got? One of your good friends were very helpful in my journey. Was Lorraine Ballamoro.
Lorraine Ballamoro, yep.
Who was a great mentor of mine. And my Uncle Harry Moore, who when I was a kid, he would take me down to the church and we would feed, I don't say homeless, we would feed, you know, the less fortunate. And we would give out food, give out clothes and different things like that. And living in the projects and having my father who was in and out of jail while mom being strong and taking care of my brothers and sisters, including myself, that molded me and say, you know what? If you want better, it's going to start with you. And I think that's what inspired me and uplifted me, you know, to want to do this work. And the thing about it, I think you speak about this a lot, it's not about a title.
Yes.
You don't need to have a title to make a difference. You know what I mean? A lot of times people get scared and say, I need this person. No, the only person you need is yourself because you're going to be able to inspire so many people to do this work, but you have to first believe in it.
Yes, agreed. I'm so proud of you. I can't even tell you just how proud. How can people reach you?
They can always reach me. They can log onto our website, unitariancommunity215.com. They can always hit me on Facebook, Anton Moore, Instagram, Anton Moore 14, Twitter, Anton Moore 1. I'm always on social media. You know, we just released our documentary about gun violence with that.
Yes. All right. You hold on. Let's talk about that when we come back from the break. Hold on. Okay. All right. I forgot. Listen, you are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. Thanks. We will be right back after these messages.
Hey, WURD family. Our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WURD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you're just joining us, I have on with me Anton Moore, who launched the nonprofit organization Unity in the Community. Let me take a quick call. Dolores from North Philly, line 2. Are you there?
Yes, I am, Mother. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on, lady?
I'm just listening to the information that they're talking about, like in the neighborhoods, how we don't get out and we don't clean up our neighborhoods. In my neighborhood, there's been a lot of dumping. It's from Old York Road in Luzerne and up to Pike Street. It's been a lot of dumping. We do clean our neighborhood, but they promised us cameras in our neighborhood. We never got the cameras in our neighborhood, and it's a constant dump. It's a constant dump. Today, when I went out and I saw it, it's like so much trash in the street that the cars really can't go by.
Oh, wow. Okay, so whoever's in city government, because you're right, I've seen it on my street too, where people just come and they dump tires on the end of the street, and so whoever it is in city government that is responsible for this, there is insane dumping happening in Old York Road and Luzerne, from Old York Road all the way up to Luzerne. Please get somebody out there, and if you promise to put cameras out so that the community people can see who is doing this, then please do so. There's certain parts in West Philly, Southwest Philly. It's happening all over the city. And so it's not acceptable for us to have this kind of dumping in our community. You're talking about the fact that we're not keeping our community clean when people are actually coming into our communities and dumping. So let's get those cameras up. Thank you so much, Ms. Dolores, for calling.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, my sister. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Lord Anton. It just feels like they're always putting us in the toilet. Always. We can't get anything done right. Let me ask you this. Tell me about the documentary now. Tell me about that.
So I've been working for the last 3 years. Me and my partners, Matt Smith and James, been working on a docu-series called Way to Death that basically shows you what the gun violence looks like in the city of Philadelphia. And we turned into a 5-part docu-series that we released online. We released our first episode that featured D.A. Larry Krasner, hip-hop artist Meek Mill, a parent named Miss Danielle Oglesby, who lost her daughter to gun violence in West Philadelphia. And by putting out these docu-series, we want to raise awareness, but also give up solutions as well to the ongoing gun violence. And if you watch that first episode, man, it was breathtaking. And, it touched your heart and it challenged your mind to say, you know what, is my child out there doing this nonsense? Are they involved? Look at how this parent is hurting. From a artist perspective, we have Meek Mill give his perspective as an artist and how music play a role. We have D.A. Larry Krasner talk about as a prosecutor, the toll is taking on him and his approach to things. We had community members on there who deal with this stuff every day. We had a young man on there who was shot and basically he lost half of his tongue. And then, like I said, it's a touching docu-series. Our next episode comes out within 2 weeks. It's with Black Thought from the Roots, who lost his mother to gun violence, and it's about a 3-year-old young lady named Tanera Borum who was shot and killed in South Philadelphia 3 years ago.
Tell us what's the name of the docu-series and where can people find it?
It's called The Weight of Death. You can log on to our website, The Weight of Death. And the reason why it's called The Weight of Death is the weight of death that people feel when they lose a loved one to gun violence.
Yes.
It's the weight that's on top of them that they can't bear. But if you log on to our website, theweightofdeath.com, the first episode is there. It's very touching. And when you watch it, I promise you're going to have tears rolling down your eyes.
I'm putting it up on social media, weightofdeath.com.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm putting it up on the social media on Facebook so people can see. Anton, I'm going to pull this interview that you and I are doing now. What inspired you to do this docuseries? And God bless you. Again, you're stepping. How old are you now, Anton?
I'm 34. I'm getting old. I'll be 35 in a couple weeks.
You're 34. I just told my husband you were 32. I feel like I've known you forever. I've been watching you and Chris Norris, and that's what I'm talking about. You young folks that have just been in the trenches doing the work. What inspired this docuseries?
Inspired docuseries when you work in a community when that gun violence has been plaguing. You want to start to bring what you see. You want to put a visual on it. You want to bring it to life on the screen so that people can see how gun violence is ripping up our communities. And being able to do this and look at this and say, I hope that this could wake people up and make them realize that they are destroying our communities from the core. And we've been able to do that. Seeing Ms. Danielle Oglesby sit on that camera and do that interview after losing her 24-year-old daughter who was set to graduate from Penn State in a couple weeks to gun violence, it was touching. And we're going to continue to hammer these stories. As I said, in about 2 weeks, you're going to see a young lady named Tynara Borum who was getting her hair done at 3 years old on the steps, had 2 bullets pumped into her heart due to 2 guys, beefing in the community. And you're going to hear from the funeral director who had to embalm that young lady and from the mother. And it's going to be touching, but it's just to make sure we hit home about the issues of gun violence in our neighborhoods.
Yes. Have you submitted this to the Martha's Vineyard Film Festival?
Yes, we're pushing it out to film festivals.
Yeah, push it out. Push it out.
But
Push
the
it out.
Martha's Venue, I'm glad you said that because I'm writing that down right now.
Push it out to them because that is something that people from around the world pays attention to. And there are plenty of other film festivals, but, get that up there and let's see if we can get, submit that. Because I think people need to see this in every avenue, and this is not just a Philadelphia thing. This is something that's going on, and so you're using your skills and talents. I love you so much. You're so wonderful.
Thank you.
You're so wonderful. All right, you take it easy, and you and I are going to catch up again. All right, honey.
Indeed.
Thank you for being with us. All right, bye-bye. Lord, I just started the radio show. It is now 3:50. Let me take Rick from Germany quickly. Rick, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
Fighting these worms in my belly, sister. Fighting these worms in my belly. Yeah. In 1979, 1980, I was there in Philadelphia at the Church of Bible Understanding, Philadelphia Lamb House. In 1990, I found out on a visit to Philadelphia that they had turned that building, which was a nursing home, into a homeless shelter. My question to you is, how many homeless shelters do you have around Philly where young men can go and cool out and deal with their food urge, their sexual urge, and basic jealousy and class consciousness?
Okay, I'm going to ask that question of someone that I know will be able to answer that for me, and she's probably listening right now. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get that answer for you, but just anything else you want to talk about?
No, ma'am. That's it.
Okay. I will, when I get on the air tomorrow, if I get that answer, I'll make sure that I put it out there for you. Okay?
Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You have a good one. All right. Bye-bye. It is 3:51. I have to get off the air in exactly 4 minutes. And I want to thank all of you for your roles and your conversations today on the show. We have touched on what's happened in Washington, D.C., and I guarantee you that will continue to unfold. I have spoken to a white listener who, was perturbed that this white woman was shot and killed by a black person. And so I want you to just see how race always plays a part. Even when we don't want to talk about it, race comes up, right? We talked to Randy Hayes Martin, who was talking about what to do now in a pandemic as you're planning. All these people got engaged over the holiday season, and she gave great tips on what to do as you're planning for your wedding. If you're planning to get married now, before this year is out, she gave great tips around all of that. Talk to the WURD listeners. We've had serious conversations about where we are and where we're going. And then I ended the show with Anton Moore from Unity on the Community. This young brother is so diggity dang stellar. Now, we don't expect people to be perfect, and he will tell you he's not perfect, right? But he's done some good things. They found jobs for brothers, stop beef in the community, made sure that they paid the utility bills for folks, trying to get black businesses to work together, having business sponsor black businesses to help with other folks. And it's just amazing. And he was right. He said, we talk about the 500 killings in Philadelphia, but what no one is really focusing on is the children that have been able to graduate from high school and go off to college, the young people who were able to get off the street and find permanent jobs, the people, the mental health issues. And then we ended with Rick from Germany, who was like, how many homeless shelters are out there that can help young people, young brothers, and young folks in general to get themselves together, to take a breather and get some good food to eat. I've said this to you all the time. Those of us that sit behind these microphones that are actually doing our work and absorbing the news every single day, we need to catch our breath too. We need to find our spaces of solace. And we ask you to give us a little grace, because we're not always going to be perfect in this, because we're still in the skins that we're in. We still have brothers and uncles and fathers and husbands and other family members that are dealing with this kind of stuff. We are being disproportionately impacted all the time between the diseases that are out here, being unfairly treated, and being gunned down in the streets simply because of the skin that we are in. And so I want to thank you all for continuing to send love and prayers and good blessings our way, not just for me, but for anybody that's on media right now that's doing the work and doing it with fidelity and due justice. Coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.